This feels like a big weekend to me. Charlotte, how you doing? No, this is really important. We have got 4 teams who've worked really hard to be here, and they know that every single one of you are out here. So I wanted to blow the roof off, right? Siege family, how we feeling? Welcome, every single one of you, and you watching at home as well, to the Rainbow Six Charlotte Major. It is, of course, semi-finals day. And there is one thing that you haven't seen yet. Yes, you've seen each other. You've met some of the amazing players. You've met the talent. You have probably seen faces that you haven't seen for a very long time. The set, the quarters. But there's one thing you haven't seen yet. Do you want to see something cool? How about you? You want to see something cool? Yeah? Okay. Let's take a look at something really cool. Hey, I'm going to ask you one more time. You want to see something cool? Yeah! I'm not going to show it to you until I hear you loud. Are you ready to see it? Yeah! Charlotte, North Carolina, I give you our amazing trophy. This right here is what all 4 of the teams you see today are competing for. Only 2 will make it to the grand final to potentially get their hands on this and lift it high into the air and become your Rainbow Six Siege Charlotte Major champions. Do you like it? It's nice, right? Okay. So, who do you want to see lift it? Does anybody want to see Team Liquid lift it? Are there any DarkZero fans in the house? Okay, let's meet the teams. LATAM's last hope. An eclectic mix of unbelievable talent full of momentum. Welcome to the stage, Team Liquid! Liquid fans in the house, but let's meet their opponents. Dark horses no more, but can they put Liquid on ice? It's DarkZero! And teams, please will you shake hands before we get this underway. Only 1 These two amazing teams will make it to the grand final tomorrow to compete for that trophy that is just perched behind them. Which team will it be? Let's break it down further right now.
I think we are the most experienced team in the tournament. All teams had like roster changes. On a good day, we can beat any of them.
Team Liquid is one of the teams here that I probably respect the most. I think they're a very well-rounded team.
DarkZero can be a really solid team. They can make really good strategies, but they can be also really easy to read.
We're in the best form we've been in. We're feeling very capable of this event. I think we're better than the teams here. As long as we're playing our game, we have what it takes now.
Oh yes, it is time to get the semifinals started. That's right, Liquid versus DarkZero. Liquid coming in with that 2-0 over G2. DarkZero taking a little bit farther to get it done, 2-1 over Team 1. But both of these teams, I think, equally capable of moving it to the finals. I think both of our semifinals are difficult to predict. What do you think?
I think that intro video summed it up perfectly. I think Liquid feel like they'll have a good read on DarkZero. They feel like they've got that experience, you know, throughout the years in these types of scenarios, in these pressure pots. DarkZero, they've got sprinklings of that. Obviously, you know, Canadian 2-time world champion,
of course,
but it's still quite a young team. And I think they're going to have to find another level to go to win today.
Yeah, I may be a little careful with that. I do think DarkZero have been around the block a couple of times, but no, you're absolutely right. Liquid have been together for a long time. They do have a couple of rookies. It's hard to call them rookies maybe at this point. They have been on this team for a while, Ask and Resets, and I think they've had a great tournament as well. Ask has really stepped up as a support player for Liquid. He's one of those guys that can get aggressive, can be one of those first players in the building for Liquid. And I've really been impressed with how active he is on the map, whether he's playing on defense, on smoke, or whether he's trying to get in a little more aggressive on hard breach. I feel like he's really fulfilled a much needed role on Liquid that they didn't have before.
Yeah, I mean, the two quote-unquote rookies are the two top-rated players for Liquid in this tournament. You know, honestly, it's only a matter of time until Palu and, you know, Nesk and even PSK get going, and then you're thinking, oh my god, how do we beat this Liquid roster? Because currently it's the rookies that are at the top of their leaderboard, their internal, you know, ratings.
Yeah, and we've got some stats on the board right now. I want to focus in on that defensive stat. 63%, 64% is really an insane stat to be pulling through all the way to the semifinals. That's one of the highest that we have at the entire tournament. And they're so good at being able to clutch out any round, whether they're just ratting around you, whether they're trying to stall you out. Yesterday against G2, it really felt like they were doing a good job of slowing down those attackers, no matter what G2 was trying to do. Amar jumped through a window, whether it was Candela's, whatever G2 would throw at them, Liquid were putting a stop to it time and time again. So I'm really excited to see those Liquid defenses come through. I think towards the end, when they got to that map too, sometimes those fast pushes were working pretty well against Liquid, but DarkZero is not really known for that. So I think Liquid are going to have a very good time on defense today.
I agree. I mean, that's the thing that impressed me the most about Liquid yesterday is when G2 was throwing some of those things at them, a lot of it was pretty creative looks, honestly, and Liquid pivoted around it and handled it all very well, defensively especially, like you said. DarkZero, though, is not quite that same team stylistically, is it, you know? So how will Liquid match up against that kind of team?
I feel like they need to be careful not to get too frustrated by DarkZero, because if you think, we know DarkZero is like a strategical-based team that will checklist basically every site, very readable.
Of course.
For Liquid, it's very easy for them to then just try and like peek into something and try and over-aggress to try and force their hand. And that's where DarkZero can flourish. So if I'm Liquid, that's where I'm kind of thinking, we just need to play our game, and we know that they're going to be a little bit slower than G2 were. They're going to be a little bit more safe than G2 were, but we still need to be there and ready to punish it. We're not going to be tested just as much.
And we're taking highlights of Resets real quick, because he has been a phenomenal player for Liquid. One of the highest rated attacking players at this entire event. He's been popping off time and time again. I really like the way he's able to get pushes through against the opponents. Only Shaiko is rated higher on the offense, and Shaiko's not here. So the highest rated attacking player who's made it to the top 4. Resets has been having a fantastic tournament so far. You see him pushing, and he can really flex around too. You see Ace being shown off as his primary attacking operator. That's not necessarily like a dedicated planting hard breaching ace. That is more of an aggressive kind of second hard breach ace, but it's still very impressive to see from such a young player.
Well, 74% cost too. You know, he's getting in the mix as far as like everything you can do on the map, right? It's not just you know, it's not just a one look, right?
And cost is the best metric we have to measure kind of consistency, right?
Totally.
Where you've had an impact in a round. 75% of those rounds he's having impact for his team. That is phenomenal, especially for a player so young, a player playing it first time in front of a crowd, etc. It's just not phased him whatsoever.
Right. Well, let's talk about their opponents. On the other side of the arena, it is DarkZero. Again, like and a team with an appropriate name, because they feel like an enigma. They feel like a mysterious force, right? Because you look at it, and there's not a ton of flashy stuff going on out of DarkZero games, right? There's not like a huge fragging highlight reel kind of thing. It's just consistently getting the job done. You mentioned Canadian, obviously a two-time world champion. Whatever he does works, right? Whatever it is getting wins, and at the end of the day, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, DarkZero really evolved with Canadian on the roster. It felt like when he first joined this team, there were a lot of problems. Things were not gelling correctly. We saw and criticized their attacks throughout the end of last year, but they got so much better over the last few months, and I've really been impressed with the improvement of the squad when they've been on that attacking side. It feels like they're very structured for sure. They will go step by step, but they will make sure they clear off every single person on the checklist. Usually that means this roamer, this roamer, this roamer, this roamer. It feels like nobody's more likely to have a flawless round on attack than DarkZero.
It's structured, it's disciplined, and I like it. They see Siege as a team-based game. You know, you get some teams where you can call them a team of individuals where they go off and play their own thing. It's a very team-based game for DarkZero, and that's what I like about it. It's the drone network, it's the roam clear.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their part to play to achieve that checklist, and when you look at their stats, they're all very similar. There's no standout leader in terms of kills. Everybody's just doing their part, getting the team through the work. Sometimes they do make hard work of it, don't get me wrong, but overall, it's a very good team that plays Siege the way that a lot of people think Siege should be played.
Well, it is essentially the ancient Roman phalanx of Siege strategies, right? Where it's inevitable. You know, you see it coming. There's no mystery about how it's all put together, but it's just so hard to get through the cracks in the armor and do damage, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting because you look at like the macro, right? And there's always those steps in the macro. Like they're here, then they're here, then they're here, and that's like how they're clearing the whole game. But on the micro level, it feels like there's a lot of variety. Like sometimes we'll see Hyper being the Greek god that he is, just pushing forward and getting so many of those entry kills. But he's not afraid to flick off, to go to like maybe more of a flank watch role when it's needed, pinch in behind the site, be more of a solo player when he has to. Sometimes he's up there with Pamba, but sometimes he doesn't have to be. So it's crazy how we see these players still moving around different roles. You'll be on the Jackal, you'll be on the Sledge. They'll change these things up quite a bit, but still the structure stays the same. I think that's a sign of a great, real structure that they've got there.
I think one of the things for this team as well, and I said this, I'm going to quote actually about TSM at 6 Invitational 22, when they won it. I said they won it off the back of having an amazing map pool. Obviously, it was 7 maps at the time, and TSM played them all. DarkZero play at least, well, they play 8 out of the 9 maps. There is just one map that they don't play.
Yeah.
And I think in these types of scenarios, when you need to find a way to beat a team, you have that leverage of being able to go to any of the maps that you want that you think is that team's weakest. And I think that will be a big strength for DarkZero coming into this fixture.
Well, we highlighted Team Liquid's defenses, but DarkZero are currently the top attacking team at the entire major. 61% is ridiculous
right?
for this squad. We've been hyping it up on the desk, but I'm a little worried because the way that they've been able to get such a high attacking win rate is because they've been going against a lot of teams throughout both the group stage and in the first round of playoffs that play a very kind of aggressive, somewhat solo style of defense. They're kind of all over the map. They're taking some really aggressive gunfights that maybe they shouldn't be. And DarkZero's great at shutting that down. Liquid's a little more put together than that. They're going to be playing a little bit more together. They're not going to be as spread around along the map, and they're just not going to be going for as many opportunities if they don't need to. So I am a little worried that DarkZero will stall out against a team like TL. They've known to do that in the past. We've seen it in the NAL. It's not been a problem this event, but part of me wonders, is that just because of the competition they've been up against?
I think the first few rounds of every map are so important because the opponents that they're against are so momentum-based and so momentum-driven that you just need to shut them down early. And here we've got a highlights package coming in for Eclipse here, and we wanted to show this yesterday, but we didn't quite have time because he is the plant leader of this competition. He's got 15 plants now. He got another 4 yesterday. It was 11 yesterday. These are mainly the highlights from the group stage. But what I want to say about this guy is, like, he's not just your typical protect the president kind of planter. He's getting in there. He's getting kills. He's getting entries. He's also planting. He's getting clutches as well. And this guy, he has absolutely everything.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's been the solid support player for DarkZero, and he's always been able to get in there, focus on getting that plant down. Oftentimes it's easy because DarkZero are able to win so much of the early round, right? If DarkZero are able to get that advantage early, then they force their way through into the site. They're really able to focus down that objective, and that's what's great about DZ, right? We can't stop praising their attack enough, but I really do think that this is going to be a team that's going to make things very difficult for Team Liquid on the defense. When they're on their respective sides, it's going to be a bloodbath and a great game. When they're on, their off sides, when DZ's on defense, I still think it's going to be a fantastic match. These are well-rounded teams regardless, but that's really going to be peak Siege when we can see DZ going on the attack.
Yeah, we see Canadian on the kill feed a couple times there too, and he has been putting on a show all week long as well. And Canadian, not a player known for like great stat lines, but I feel like this is kind of one of the best weeks of Siege we've seen out of him this year.
He's just got that crowd buff, hasn't he? The last time he was in front of a crowd, he won a world championship, for Christ's sake. He said it himself, there's just something about him that he sees a crowd, he gets hyped. He's already had a moment with them, riling them up as well. So I think that's only a good sign.
Dropping back to Eclipse's stats for a second there. I mean, pretty solid across the board.
Yeah, you're not going to complain about that, right? When your hard support is going positive, let alone 73 to 70, that's a nice sign. You're not going to ever turn that away. So a positive KD is always nice for your hard support where you're not really expecting that. 67 cost is very high. That's really what we like to be seeing here. And even opening kills. I mean, 7 opening picks is pretty nuts for a support. 15
plants, 2 1vx's. What doesn't he do?
There's not a lot. Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want out of your support, though, ideally,
that's
right?
Exactly what you want.
And if you're going to get to this point, if you're going to be able to make it to this point in the major, you have to be the type of player that can exceed what is expected of you on your role, right?
I think so. And especially for him, who has been he's a bit of a quiet guy, right? He's one of those support players that doesn't necessarily lead the team from a communication standpoint. It's important to be able to have really strong fundamentals, and he's definitely bringing value to the DarkZero squad. Instead, it's somebody else that does a lot of the talking and the leading on this team, and it's Canadian, who really has been flexing onto a ton of different roles this year. And again, jumping in onto DarkZero, bringing that experience, being that leadership on the squad, it feels like he's really found his place within this team. We saw some big clutch moments from him yesterday, and I'm hoping to see even more of that today. I think sometimes we can talk about maybe his mental slipping a little bit, but in front of this crowd, that just hasn't happened.
No, that's the thing. As far as and this was a big storyline, I feel like, coming into this weekend specifically, is what players had that crowd experience, were going to be affected by it, possibly negatively. Canadian is on the entirely opposite end of that spectrum, right, where he has had probably some of the most crowd experience of anyone in Siege professionally at the moment. So if anything, that's going to be a buff, right? We talked about that earlier. It certainly seems like it has been.
Yeah, it definitely has been. I think for his team, I think one thing that he does well is enable his team. Even though the roles, and I will say it again, the roles he plays are not one that I would expect a player of his stature, a player of his experience to be on. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's been working this event, so, who am I, obviously, to question that?
True enough. Well, guess what? It's time to find out where the battles are going to go down. The map picks and bans are in. Let's check it out. It'll be on the right side of your screen there. Where are we going to go? We're going to find out what the bans are first.
So DZ have a permaban, it's Skyscraper, and I don't need to spend any more time on that. Then we get Bank going off. This is a map that Team Liquid have banned at every game so far through this tournament. They played it in Copa Elite 6, and they got 7 rounds against them, against Team Alpha. They won it, max OT, but it's not a good map for them. No surprises coming through. Villa coming forward as well from DarkZero. It's one that they actually have been playing a decent amount, but it's also quite a strong one against Liquid. They managed to beat Xset back in day 2 on Charlotte, so I don't hate that they're taking that out of the pool. Border going off the board as well from Team Liquid. That's one that Liquid's actually undefeated on, so I think they're looking at DarkZero and they're just saying, we don't want to play DZ on this map. We don't want to give it to them. DarkZero proven to be very, very strong on this map. They managed to beat Heroic over in group stage, so that was very nice. Theme Park, our first map. Talk about undefeated. DarkZero are undefeated with a single win over TSM plus a second over Team 1 here at the Charlotte Major. So 2-0 is what they like to see. Liquid also undefeated, but only 1 game. It was against G2. It was yesterday. DarkZero have VOD that, and they think they've seen something they can abuse. Then we go to Chalet for Team Liquid. I keep using this word. Undefeated this year through 2 games against NIP and Furia. Historically, they have been a little hesitant on this map, but clearly they want to turn it around against DarkZero.
I think it's pretty telling that both teams have tended to go for the opponent's quote-unquote weaker maps. Yeah. Obviously, we've got amazing teams here that don't really have weak maps. It really is that 1% margin. Cafe will be taken away by DarkZero. It's a big map that Liquid absolutely love. That leaves us with Club getting rid of by Liquid and Oregon as a decider map.
I'm gonna say real quick, DarkZero kind of got away with it here. They managed to ban out Skyscraper, Villa, and Cafe. They do have a deep map pool, but those are 3 maps that they have been somewhat shaky on. They will play them, and they will not be afraid to go up against opponents on them, but they've got some losses in the past. They really haven't been looking amazing. For a team like Liquid, who are known to have one of the deepest map pools this entire tournament, I'm a little shocked they didn't try to force one of those 3 maps.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I think the big question going into this one is, how quick are DarkZero going to be able to get started? We'll have to wait and see, because now it's time for predictions. That's right. It's time to see what our analysts think. It's time to put your money where your mouth is, or your, fake points, I guess, where your mouth is, and decide who's going to win this one. We'll go to you first, Fresh.
I've not got any fake points left. I believe...
You were flip-flopping on this morning.
I was flip-flopping, yeah. I think I started off with DarkZero, and then I think I said Liquid. I'm going to go DarkZero.
Are you sure?
I think the map ban, yeah.
Okay.
See, they like me today.
Is it just because of the crowd?
No,
be honest.
it's not. It's not. I think the fully flexible map pool is what will be the kicker for me. I think DarkZero can play any maps, and I think therefore they're going to be comfortable in all of the scenarios. So if this goes 3 maps, I can see DarkZero taking it.
But I will ask though, what is it about Liquid that tempted you to pick them earlier and then change it? What happened?
The fact that we've not seen their top players performing yet.
Oh,
if they turn up on the day, they're scary. You just can't do anything. They're like a train that you just cannot stop no matter what you do.
Okay. All right. Well, Jesse, that brings us to you. What do you think?
I guess the one worry I have against DarkZero is they're a team that are very good at attack, and they've actually chosen to start an attack for all 3 of these maps. So they will always be starting that offensive side, and sometimes on land, first thing in the morning, crowd behind you, the nerves can be there. It's hard to get going at times.
Sure.
That said, I'm not going to pick DZ against this crowd, or not pick DZ against this crowd.
Oh, I was going to say.
We're going DarkZero for this one
all
over
right.
Team Liquid.
All right. I was about to be very surprised for a second, but you saved it. Now, that brings us to me, and not really to me, more the coin. But you know what? We had a substitute coin yesterday. It didn't perform very well. It only picked 1 out of 4 correct. And I kid you not, as the day started, a fan came up behind me and was like, "You need a better coin?" And I was like, "Sure, what do you got?" And so he gave me this regular old quarter from the US of A here. This was given to me by one of you out here, so you're responsible, all right? This is the coin I got from a fan. We're going to flip it. It's going to be heads, Team Liquid. It's going to be tails, DarkZero. Again, coin provided to me by the fans. See what it's going to be. It says tails. It says DarkZero. The American coin predicts the American team. So there you have it. All right, it's not on me anymore. It's on them. It's on you, right? Well, we're going to see what the other predictions are going to be in a second here. I believe we have a graphic to show that. Otherwise, are we ready to send it to the casters? Hold on. I'm getting a message. Oh, we are. We're ready. All right, let's do it. It's time to get this series started. Let's send it over to the casters to call the action.
Thank you very much, Doa. What a day, Tim. Saturday's arrived. Semi-final 1 is coming up. It's an NA team, NA audience, and you got the Brits casting it as well.
Does it get any better than this for a Saturday afternoon? I don't think it does.
I don't think it does. Tim, what do you think of the Drabs?
I mean, you're sort of taking over my look a little bit, Des.
Taking over, mate, far ahead already. Guarantee ya, they like mine more.
Absolutely no chance.
Right, okay, we're doing something here. Guys, which jacket, if you like mine more?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
What
but if you like the original, if you like mine more, let's hear it. That's got to be an ace win.
I don't think it is.
Absolutely.
I can't really concede on that point. Someone had your life in the crowd early today, though. We've got a sign out in the crowd, actually. Someone, when we were walking in, had a sign that said, "Ace, can I be your barber?"
And he absolutely can be, because, like you say, he's far superior there with that sign.
They're in the middle, actually. I can see it right there.
Just, yeah, there in the corner of your screen.
There's
You've got it on the
reminder.
edge.
Just for Tim to walk in and be told, "Hey, I'll cut your hair any day. There's not much there to cut, but you can go through it if you so choose." There it is. Absolutely love seeing all the signs in this crowd. Thank you very much, guys. Go on, Jesse. You can't be saying no to that. Not a public proposal like that one. Oh, Tip, they can have a nice conversation off screen, Tim. We've got a game to focus on here as well. Liquid against DarkZero. The last hope of anyone except NA here against an NA team. DarkZero looking like the dark horses could really steamroll their way through to the final. Now, you used to cast Latam. Where are you sat on the side of this equation?
It's a difficult one because Liquid have been so strong so far, but I'm very terrified about going against this audience because, I mean, we talk about the clock being the sixth man quite, regularly, but for me, this audience could be the sixth man today because they were so loud yesterday when the NA teams were playing. I'm excited to come and get in front of them for one of their own, DarkZero. What I do know is it's going to be very, very close. Liquid have been playing so well as a team, but for me, for my money, DarkZero have been one of the other teams that have been functioning well. We've already heard about Eclipse driving them from that support, but then we've got Pamba, we've got Hyper going in there, getting them kills, Canadian with the leadership. It's been fantastic for them so far. So we are going to get into things here. Theme Park is going to be map number 1, and we are heading into our bands. It's Team Liquid versus DarkZero in the first semi-final of the 6 major Charlotte.
Unbelievable to think that at the end of today we could have 2 NA teams in the grand final at an NA major, Tim. It's almost a perfect script. Liquid coming in with the Thatcher band to start things off. We've seen a Thatcher band dodged a few times throughout this competition as well, where teams have opted to leave it open. We had double hard breach ban on Clubhouse yesterday. Haven't seen that one in a while. Maverick going to follow through from the side of DarkZero to round out the attacker bands.
We'll move on to the defenders now. It's going to be DarkZero to pick up the first one. Everything pretty standard so far. I would expect to see that continue. We're going to have Wamai, who has been increasing in popularity for the bans recently, taking away the magnets that will suck in any of that throwable utility that goes near them. So we're going to see a lot of Jaeger play today. The final one, going to be Mirror. No surprises there.
Absolutely not. The Wamai, as you mentioned, back during the utility meta when shields, they were just everywhere. And the go-to was for teams like BDS to ban away the Wamai to make it easier to clear through them. And teams over time started adopting a similar banning strategy. And I think this competition, I think with teams acknowledging, okay, some teams are bringing along 8 frag grenades in a round. What's the way to respond to that? 1, ban Maverick. 2, ban Wamai, and let the nades that do remain keep on singing through. Armory and Throne, going to be the first site that we step into, and I know we've got Attacker repicked him, but I can't help but look at the Decabi, the Jackal, Nut coming in as well. That's a lot of Roma hunting power on side.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we saw both of these teams play on Theme Park yesterday. Both of them got the win there. Team Liquid against G2, of course, and DarkZero picking up the win against Team 1. 7-3 it was for DarkZero. So a solid performance. They kicked off on attack then as well, Des, and they managed to take it 4-2 in that half. So Liquid could be up against it on defense here.
It could well be. A couple of C4s in back pocket for the side of Liquid just screams towards that denial that you might see later in the game. And Jesse made a great point on the desk, by the way. We did see Liquid play on this map yesterday. Of course, we saw both teams do it, but for Liquid especially, playing up against G2 on a G2 map pick as well, Liquid played it incredibly well. So there's no doubt some things to learn there for DarkZero to bring into this fixture. But knowing how Liquid played yesterday, they're going to be out on the roam. They're going to be trying to greet DarkZero on the entryway into the building. And one thing I'll really commend them for is the composure and the discipline to fall back at the right time, not stick out on the roam too long, and make sure they had 5 men back on site.
Ask and Palu particularly are a team that DarkZero need to deal with here. We saw Ask on the mute yesterday, as you say, meeting them at that line of the building where they were trying to get in, and G2 just couldn't really deal with it. We saw him teaming up with Palu a couple of times. Pamba gets the party rolling with an opening kill onto Reset. Beautiful use of that reverse angle up the hatch.
Pamba party starting early. Round 1, kill 1, game 1, everything you could ask for. Wonderful start for DarkZero, and as I said, Liquid relatively safe out on the roam. They've already lost 1 man inside the first 30 seconds. Not a dream start because you're still facing off against the Jackal, the Decabi, the Nook as well, as we've already seen striking big. Those are a couple of operators there that can do a lot of damage if you're not too careful out on the roam.
And are well aware that there could be a bit of a tension coming out of this window. Palu playing just on the inside of it, but instead he's going to move himself through to catch. Palu's not a player that you're going to catch out too easily. Out goes the Nitro. This could be a kill. No! And JR just managing to dip himself away from that and avoid any damage. The battle continues between those two, but still, even despite that opening kill, DarkZero just struggling to get themselves established inside of the map yet.
Had 2 smokes go down as well inside of control up on the top floor there. I just saw it on that overhead cam that we do have for this game. And I was just like, okay, well, what's the play here? Because for the most part, DarkZero found themselves held back inside a cache. Sure, they got the opening kill, but Liquid are still looking to greet them and slow things down. And that's what they should be doing on a map like this. NJR taken down, the sledge removed, and with no breaching charges on side, it's going to be hard to get those vertical angles opened up. Tim, you have to rely on the Jackal ITA instead.
Canadian going to keep trying to push up these yellow stairs, just using the flashbangs to try and clear something ahead of him. Let's not forget that the site is on the bottom floor here. DarkZero still needs to be working towards that ask. I picked him up at the beginning of the round, and he's doing the job again. He's got the SMG, he's hit the headshot. That's going to take another man down for DarkZero and leave us now in a 4 versus 3. Canadian has the opportunity, he sees the man, but he cannot find the kill. 50 seconds left to go. DarkZero really struggling to get any control over this top floor.
They are struggling, Tim. They're absolutely getting rolled apart by the side of Liquid. They found themselves 3 out on the row, and Pamba at least has given something back to the side of DarkZero with 2 kills of his own. He was pushing in through lab and storage. Eclipse, pulling out that grenade. We've seen many of those go the wrong way at points here, Tim. Another flash coming out, going to go around with the pistol, I'm sure. No, C4 comes out, good dodge away, and Eclipse is there for the assist. A 2 versus 2 with 20 seconds left on the clock.
DZ need to get moving now. The progress in towards site has been non-existent. There's no breaches. They're going to have to go through doors. They've got 15 seconds left to go. Liquid there, just hold up there, bunkered down at the back of the throne there. It's PSK and Parlu. We saw them holding this down. PSK, he gets the first. It's all up to Eclipse. He's no option but to push through. And PSK just holds the angle, finds the kill. And once again, PSK is there mopping up and claiming rounds for Team Liquid.
Yesterday we described PSK as a stone wall against G2. No matter how many men they threw at him, he'd just walk away with 2Ks, 3Ks on the defense and completely shut attacks down. In fact, I think he started the first round of Theme Park with a 3K. This one's only a 2, but still a good start for PSK and worrying signs for DZ.
Certainly is. It's only the first round, it's early days, but in these playoffs, this is definitely the biggest test that DarkZero have faced so far. They had a good game against Team 1 yesterday where they were able to really get something going in those second 2 maps, but they need to bring that same sort of energy here. The crowd is certainly bringing plenty of energy for them, and that is to a degree going to transfer to the players. They'll pick up on that. Despite the noise cancelling and everything they've got, they can still hear that going on.
You can sure feel it, Tim. You feel the rumble through your feet as well. We feel it on the casting desk, no doubt they feel it on the stage as well. Round 2 we go into. Up we go into Bunk and Daycare, and a small change coming in here that's quite interesting from Canadian. It's moving across to the IQ, Tim. There's no Valkyrie on side. There's nothing really that you'd normally justify bringing an IQ with. I think we saw it pulled out yesterday by Liquid when they faced off against the Yokais of Echo and a Valkyrie in the same round. Otherwise, they just simply didn't bother. So here, maybe it's trying to get rid of some of that utility from below, but some of it has already been placed on concrete flooring.
That's it, just gives you that option. You don't necessarily have to go in horizontally. DarkZero need to get moving quicker this round, that much is for sure. It just took them far too long. Pushing into site with 15 seconds left to go is never going to be a good idea, especially against somebody like Team Liquid. So we're going to have the drone in continuing here into the action phase for DarkZero. Just raining them out, trying to find anything they can. 9 drones left, so doing well with their drone economy there, using them to maximum effect. Nesk, we saw him playing in this position on Cafe Door yesterday. He didn't have a huge impact from there. He was cleared out a couple of times by G2 quite easily, so maybe, you know, DarkZero will have seen that. They'll be planned for this.
Yeah, once again, there's a big focus for them up towards the northwest side of the building, you know, pushing their way in through lab and storage, moving their way across from there. You might see 1 or 2 come, like, just jump in through Dragon side and try and sweep away across the map quite quickly. They did have a roamer out there on Liquid side as well, but I think they've slowly started to move back. You can see Ask on your screen there towards the bottom side. So for now, they're saying, okay, the focus isn't on this side of the map. Let's get some barricades down and then step our way back across towards the west.
Still no progress directly in towards the site yet for DarkZero, but starting to take that bottom floor, starting to take underneath. There you go, Ness, finding a fantastic kill on the reverse angle, opened up. You got to remember, those work both ways. Ness, he's just going to step himself back a little bit out of that engagement. He's got PSK on the cover as well, and he's going to just try and entice DarkZero into Cafe now. And there you go, he finds the kill with a headshot onto Pamba. Sometimes Ness just cannot be beaten.
And we'll go back to the line that Lycan once said, Tim, until you've been rolled over by Nesk on LAN, you haven't been at a real LAN. And he started off firing on all cylinders, at least in this round. 2 for himself so far. Eclipse, the man we highlighted earlier, he's good, but is he a full 1v5 ace good? And sadly not. Harloon with the closing kill.
Team Liquid off to a dream start at the minute, locking down the first 2 rounds. They're now going to have to go to the 3rd choice site. It's going to be initiation and office, I would imagine. And the thing is, it's pretty much the same defense as Bunk and Daycare. They're going to do very similar. They're just going to shift it across the map a little bit. Going to try and prevent DarkZero getting directly into cash, and then they'll play 1 or 2 roamers, I would imagine, out on the cafe side, just to prevent it from there as well. Just try and lock down that top floor. They're not too worried about the bottom floor.
What makes me nervous is they've not looked troubled in those first 2 rounds, Liquid. Again, PSK, +1 of the holding behind throne. 2 kills as they come running in, easy peasy. That round there, Nesk, easy 2K at the start. Admittedly, a lot of it being based on just the raw gun skill. The flick that he had across into Cafe was what netted him what should have been a kill for Pamba on the side of DarkZero, but just couldn't quite connect.
Almost underway then. We've got, this time we're not going to have the IQ brought along, but would potentially have more of an impact because we've got the Kaid who's going to be using the electricals on those walls this time. But Canadian just deciding to switch things up a little bit. He's going to be on the Zofia. No other picks particularly stand out on the attacking side. I mean, NJR, we saw the work that they attempted with the book last time. It's probably going to be very much the same. Get in, get underneath, try and open the floor underneath their feet and make it difficult for them. There is plenty of destructibility inside of office, at least. There is an opportunity there.
It is. The only problem with this site, and I look back to a really old game that we had in EUL sometime last year between, what was at the time, Doki, I believe, on the side of Na'Vi. They were playing up against Tempera, as they were then known. We've gone through many iterations since then, but they just completely held them at bay on the east side of the map because there's a number of single doorways to work through. Sure, there is the double doorway corridor you can push through into the waiting area. The problem with that being, you're so exposed running down there. It's a tunnel of death, Tim. You've got a soft wall on one side, it's a long way forwards. You can't duck behind cover on your way down, so you're forced to go through control or up through cash, and neither way is just particularly comfortable to go through. Again, it's quite tight, it's just easy to get C4 coming in, and you're being held back by the mute jammers. It's just an absolute headache.
Quite a direct approach from DarkZero here. They've got Canadian on the rappel, just looking directly in towards Bunk and Daycare, trying to make it difficult for those roamers that I said would be out on that side of the map, and trying to just soften things up from underneath. Hyper unable to really connect anything meaningful with the nade. PSK has taken a tickle of damage in the early exchanges. Palu as well now, and DarkZero certainly softening Liquid up better than they did previously. Nitro onto the windowsill is going to catch Canadian though. Perfect throw from Palu.
This time round it connects. Yep, slightly short in the previous round. Nesk finding a second. DZ just yet to get anything moving until Hyper starts balancing it up. Palu, what was that? NJR and Hyper in the same spray down. Again, Eclipse is left in a 1vx, and he's not going to find Nesk. Tim, it just feels like Palu and Nesk have woken up as 2 completely different players today.
They seeming to potentially have done it at the right time in the tournament. Des coming in here to the semi-final, and Team Liquid looking lethal right now inside the first 3 rounds. But we see this time and time again. DarkZero fans shouldn't be too worried yet. There is plenty of time for them to wake up. It's a best of 3. Let's not forget there's plenty of Siege to be played.
I always say as well, Tim, 2 halves to a game of Siege. People get really excited when they see our 5-1. This is going to be a 7-1 rollover. But things can completely change in that second half incredibly quickly. So don't get too stung up on it as well. DZ calling the tactical timeout. We've seen some miraculous turnarounds after these tactical timeouts come in. And no doubt they know, look, we're stepping in. We're getting absolutely beat down by these 2 players of Nesk and Palu that are just giving us answers rather than questions. And it's looking problematic. They have got to come up with something. One thing I do want to touch on, let's not forget yesterday, Palu was like 1-9 on this map. He did not have a good day. So clearly what he's done is gone, right, energy yesterday, leave it out the window. Transfer it instead into today in semi-finals territory, and now you're seeing them online.
That'll be the
because that's exactly how it works, Tim. 100%.
It's as simple as that.
It is, yeah.
It's absolutely as simple as that. That's why you stood up here and not sat over there.
Exactly.
Tactical timeout will be completed for DarkZero. They're going to get back into things. It is time now for them to start finding some rounds. They need to get themselves on the board, Des. They've just suffered a complete defensive sweep. Liquid, now they're going to rinse and repeat. They're going to move back through those sites. It's down to Armory. I'd like to see DarkZero this time at least get some access into site. Let's get those breaches off. Let's make it uncomfortable for Team Liquid.
Right, Pamba moving over to the Amaru here. Curious to see if that one sticks. We've seen Amaru a number of times this week, and we haven't really seen it to be used for the fantasy that everyone has when they think of Amaru plays, right? Just springing in through a window into sight, planting or killing everyone and winning the game off the back of that. Instead, used to get inside the building quite quick in the early round and hopefully catch a defender trying to rotate back towards sight. So keep an eye on who might be isolated on the side of Liquid, and that's where you could see Pamba come flying in.
Surprise, surprise, Nesk is up on his cafe door again. This is the problem when you're playing against Nesk sometimes. He will have a position, that is it, and that is going to be him for the entire game. And if he's hitting his shots, which we've seen him get a multitude of kills so far on this door, he's been directly challenged and he's still come away on top of those battles. That can be really dangerous. You get to a point where it's almost like, let's just not play into that anymore, because you know he's going to be there and you know he's going to be winning those fights.
We've been talking quite a bit about ask and resets this week as well, and how good they're doing, adding to Paolo and Nest's deadliness. But just to raise it, Paolo and Nest, 5 kills apiece, only 1 left between them. Double the kills that so far the other side have got. Speaking of ask and resets, they get themselves involved in a couple of firefights. Pamba starts off well, but it's 2 kills back to Liquid and looking to be in full control once again.
That's it. Something else that Liquid are doing very well here is trading out Nest, managing to find Pamba from that position once again. Eclipse manages to find the kill onto Parlu. Keeps this manageable for DarkZero. It's 3v2. Eclipse is low health, which is not going to help, but so is Ask. So not the end of the world. They really need this next kill, though, do DarkZero. Canadian getting a little bit more aggressive towards site. That was something I said. They need to get themselves disrupting what is going on inside of that site, because otherwise Liquid, they're just going to sit there forevermore.
They can see the feet. They know that someone's out there as well, just waiting for them to step right across, but nope. Long backed away there. Nest not going to be able to find a freebie, unfortunately. This is one of the better situations DZ have been in, though, right, Tim? They are putting some focus on the site itself. They've only got the 1-man deficit working against them. It was a 2v2 back in round 1 that PSK won out for them. So if you think Nest and Paolo are a problem, wait until you see PSK on site.
Canadian's going to grab the cams there, just try and get a little bit of information. That's going to give access to anything that Team Liquid have.
Outcams.
Exactly that, if they are still in play, which it looks like they are. Resets and Parlu are looking at least 1 there, so there is going to be maybe something to be gained for DarkZero here from just nicking the cams there, but just feels like they've stalled out a little bit here. They're a little bit concerned about pushing into site. They know that they're going into a man deficit situation, but Eclipse has an opportunity to open up a breach, and this could be big for DarkZero here, because what it's going to do is move Team Liquid around.
Might be a bit of a ticket there. I don't know if that was intended by Liquid to still have one side not be electrified. They've got the hatch inside a split, as well as that wall electrified, but not quite the full thing. So with it now opened up, DarkZero have got access into sight. But you've got Ask on one side. I said about PSK being this stone wall, Tim. He finds one. Eclipse getting it back. It's a 1v2 on a slither of HP. Ask comes in with the shotgun. Liquid find another round.
4-0 at this point. DarkZero struggling to get themselves onto the board, and Team Liquid looking every inch the favourites that they came in to this tournament as. And I think a lot of the NA teams, all 3 of them in fact, are going to be looking at this and thinking maybe this is the wrong time for us if Liquid start hitting form.
That's it. And hopefully if it goes between the maps, let's not forget as well, this was DarkZero's map pick, right? Going into Chalet, there are no slouches on that map. We've seen them play it before. So I think when you're looking at how things break down, do you expect DC to be able to battle their way back in? I don't know. What we have seen throughout most of yesterday is teams winning each other's maps, though. So hopefully that continues, because, Tim, we felt cheated out of a 3rd map yesterday. It looked like G2 at like 6-3, we're going to do it, and then no, let's give it all away.
It looked every inch like we'd get a 3rd, and we do have a bit of a habit of it, Des. We're looking for one of those nice, tight affairs, and so far Liquid look like they have got other things in mind. 2 more defensive rounds for them here on Theme Park, and it's going to be back up to the top floor bunk and daycare, which they won back in round 2. Again, DarkZero struggled to get inside of the map, struggled to get any real footing inside of the round, so that's what I want to see them do here. I want to see them come in, clear out the couple of roamers that they're going to be faced with, and don't lose any men for it. I don't really recall DarkZero being in a position of having man advantage so far. I want to see them get the entry, get another kill on the back of it, be in a 5v3. Let's see what they can do from there.
Canadians 4K in that 2 versus 5 feels like a distant memory at this point as well. 0-4 in the game so far. NJR, exactly the same story. Not quite firing on all cylinders just yet. Hopefully we start to see it wake up in the next round or 2. Like many of their stars, DarkZero have put some focus on lab and storage, Hyper sitting him in below. Imagine his focus here is going to be the same as before. Try and get some bullets through into the ceiling and try and burn Nesk away, who's sat above once again, playing sat behind those ADSs just outside a cafe with a shield in tow.
The problem is that the floor beneath Nesk is solid there, so there's not really too much he can do other than...
What he did last time was shoot inside the cafe.
He tried to get the hole and to try and get it up there, but it just didn't work because Nesk was ready for it and just took the peak and won the fight. So it's just very, very difficult to move him from here. And G2, they managed it yesterday. Coming in from the cafe door, they were able to burn the ADSs, clear out the shield, and that pushed Nesk away a couple of times. But DarkZero, no success from underneath so far.
I remember them just rolling the Flores in, and Canadians run Flores a few times before. I'm somewhat surprised to see that we're not trying that out here when you know this cafe hold is giving you headaches. You saw G2 break it open yesterday with a well-placed Flores too. Sure, Liquid dealt with it pretty well at points. Pamba goes down and hits the deck, or resets. Is there to give the assist to Ask once again. DarkZero just struggling to make anything happen in the early round. PSK getting involved once a little bit earlier in the round rather than lazy towards the back end of it. 2 kills once again for Liquid.
And it's just so smart is this play where PSK has got the angle to support Nesk on that door. So where the push does come from cafe door, we see the Vulcan shield go down. The Talon shield, goes down, and that's going to make it even more difficult because you've got those smokes coming out from PSK now that's just preventing that pushing from cafe door. So you've got 2 problems to deal with as well as the line of sight of PSK. Reset, he's just going absolutely wild on that side of the map at the minute. He gets himself a 3rd in the round, taking down Hyper, and once again DarkZero are facing a 1v5. This time it's flawless as Palu closes it out. And the LATAM team are absolutely storming their way through Theme Park.
Does someone want to go and check if DC have got out of bed yet, Tim? These fights are just going against them. Even when Resets is drawing a line over someone and taking a second or so to get the kill, they're still not landing the shots back on the other side. DarkZero is looking a little bit static, a little bit tired, dare I say. We saw how well they could play yesterday and throughout the groups, but we haven't seen that in map 1 at all.
That's it, you've got to remember in the groups, they won 5 out of 6. They needed a lot of overtime along the way. 3 of those results came in overtime, but you know what? It doesn't matter if you get in the wins, especially at this point. You'll take an overtime win on every single map you play because if you do that, you'll win. Simple as that. You'll be the one lifting that beautiful trophy at the end of the weekend.
It is a gorgeous trophy.
It's very nice, isn't it?
It's different, which is what I like about it as well.
As a support man, seeing the thermite, that's the trophy I want to win.
If it disappears overnight, the lights go down again,
Nothing to do with me.
We know exactly why.
Nothing to do with me.
Time will tell on that front, Tim. Once again, the Ossa coming along. I'm not too sure about the gridlock coming along from NJR here as well. Being flanked hasn't really been DZ's problem. Their problem has been dealing with roamers or Nesk's held position outside a cafe. That's where they've struggled. It's not been someone coming around the back of them and killing 2 or 3 of them in a spray down. So an operator I'm looking at and thinking, is there something else you could have brought here? And another question for me, you've got 6 smokes on side. What about a glass? We've seen teams use glass a little bit yesterday for this sort of thing. If you're really struggling, just open up a wall, start looking for some picks with the glass or anything along those lines, but 6 just feel excessive.
I'd have maybe even considered something like a Montagna. You're struggling to get into cafe, bring the shield and just walk in behind it. Just do anything you can to disrupt Liquid. That's what's not going on at the minute. Liquid are setting themselves, like you say, there's no flanks, there's nothing hitting them unexpectedly. Liquid are setting out their stall at the beginning of the round. This is how we're going to play. DarkZero play into it. They've tried a number of different ways to get in there, but Liquid are just never being moved.
Imagine a 6-0 half, Tim. We know things
I don't want to, Des. We won't be invited back again.
Just a curse for NA, apparently, we might turn out to be. For sure, let's hope DarkZero gets something. They need it really going into that second half. You don't want to see match point on your screen every single time is the issue when you're going into the entirety of your rounds in the second half of the game. Ask once again, asking questions of the players out on this cash side balcony. Liquid doing the same as they did against G2 yesterday. Again, looking to greet them on the entryway in, stopping them out, and here comes the jump in. 2 players now pushing at top of Dragon.
Absolutely essential that DarkZero win this round for me. If they don't, it is map over at that point practically, but there is still a minute and a half for them to do it. As you say, the Warden going to be perfect for Palu to play into this smoke. Glasses activated, deactivated. He's just managing the availability of that gadget as and when these smokes come in. have the Talon shield placed down. Hyper's going to be playing from behind it with the nade, and DarkZero this time, instead of playing into that robe, they're playing more directly towards site, and I like that.
That's what Liquid did against G2 yesterday, and it worked so well. 4 men in Dragon side, sweep across, and got the plant down inside of initiation. Looks like DarkZero going for something similar, but again, I'm nervous about the fact they're relying on smoke so much when there is a Warden of Palu stood so close and ready to rotate between either angle or either lane, essentially, towards the attackers to deal with that. This smoke right in the back, almost catching onto Hyper on the nut, but he's worked his way forwards here. Sat inside of control, but no nades on side. He's just looking for a crucial first pick to get this round moving.
They really need that kill onto Palu to play into their utility, but it's not going to happen as Palu manages to find the headshot onto Hyper. Second kill of the round as it's 5 versus 3 for Team Liquid now, and once again, almost every battle going in their favour. Eclipse managing to find something for DarkZero. Headshot onto PSK. Can he get himself a second? Absolutely not. Palu is just on one of those first. That's 3 before he is shut down, and that's going to be 3v1 now for Liquid. Pamba gets himself into sight. A lot of work to do. He's got no choice. He needs to start trying to throw this diffuser down. He uses his bait, but all it will do is bring Neskin closer for that final kill. Team Liquid 6-0.
I have not seen domination like this throughout the entire tournament, Tim. Even against some of the teams that many looked at and gone, not playing very well here, looking towards Direwolves, Chiefs, you know, they're at least able to fight in some games, but DarkZero just bringing nothing to the party. Canadian, Hyper, and NJR. 1 kill between the 3 of them across 6 rounds, Tim. I think it's pretty obvious why things aren't going their way. They're just not winning these critical gunfights.
Pamba, the sort of glimmer of hope for DarkZero at the minute, getting himself 2 entry kills at least, giving themselves something to hold on to, something to build from, work from. As you say, Eclipse, he's had his moments, but they've just been meaningless in the grand scheme of things because Liquid have always found a way to get themselves over the line. 6-0 now, and Team Liquid move on to the attack. DarkZero, they're going to be taking Armory and Throne. At this point, they can't think about round number 8, they can't think about round 9 or beyond. It just needs to be round 7, 1 at a time. We just need to win this defense.
Absolutely, and going back to something I've referenced a few times that Canadian said is, you know, I asked him once, you know, why aren't you super excited anymore? Normally you're screaming and really going for it with your players, but he said, look, the problem is sometimes the guys get a little overexcited and then mistakes creep in. It's about keeping them at that constant rest level in the middle. Not too low, not too high, straight down the middle. And a lot of that comes into the play of, right, new round, boys, reset, forget the score. We've got a job to do here.
I don't know if at this point, Des, it maybe needs that burst of energy. It maybe just needs that rocket to say,
can he
right,
just go off mid-round and just start
you know, this is
screaming?
it. We just need that success. You know, whatever it is, whether it's the entry kill, whether it's getting, you know, something, just taking out an important player. There's the hard breach gone. They just need something to latch onto to really start feeding this team in with a bit of belief, a bit of energy, and to just make Liquid think twice.
Make them sweat a little bit, Tim, because so far they haven't had to break a single one. Just looking down the kills on their side so far, you sat at 10 kills across the whole team in 6 rounds. It has been a really good half for Liquid. We can't take that away from them. Here they're starting out a bit of a split push as well themselves. So you've got some coming in on the cash side, some moving over towards, some on cash side, sorry, some over towards Cafe on the other side. So in terms of the split, it's different to what we saw yesterday, where they had 4 players all come in Dragon side and go for those trades off of each other. Maybe it's a confidence thing that's changed that ever so slightly so far today, but they're still looking for that elusive first pick.
We know that the attack is tough on Theme Park, and it is time for DarkZero to take advantage of that. Pamba playing on the Warden, perfect, as he can just avoid those flashes. Palu, however, manages to find an opener onto Hyper, not looking good for DarkZero. Pamba's trying to contest this window. He knows somebody's playing there. He's going to find the kill onto PSK. Canadian gets one onto resets, and that just might be what DarkZero need to start changing these together. But Palu just goes bigger no matter what you do. 13-2.
No one covering on the south side there. He just walks in through control, up into initiation, and shoots them in the back. That is disastrous for DarkZero. It's a 3 versus 2 once again. That numbers advantage staying elusive. And Eclipse and NJR, they're playing for the map right now, Tim.
This is exactly it. They are keeping DarkZero in Theme Park, but like an abandoned Theme Park, Des, it feels like they've not got much to go on because it is going to be tough against Palu and Nesk, who are both still alive. Ask a little bit quiet today, but we know he's got the ability as well. But how do you play against Palu and Nesk that are 20 kills for 4 deaths? The answer is, it's always going to be very, very difficult to find an answer.
It's ludicrous. And we've said throughout the competition, we haven't seen those 2 players really shining as bright as they may have done historically, but what what a game to turn things on. Of course, if they make it through this semi-final, they've got to keep that going into tomorrow. But for now, they've still got to get over DarkZero. 25 seconds on the clock. Those smokes coming out from NGR will do a little bit of tickle damage onto Team Liquid to try and push their way through. So this could be the saving grace for them, Tim.
It is. We've seen this held down in 2 versus 3. We saw PSK do it in a 1v3 yesterday. MJR continues, just putting that toxic vape canister out, and then the kills come in. Eclipse NJR closing things down for DarkZero in what looked like an unlikely round. This could be the start of it, Des, but there's a long way to go. 1-6 as DarkZero get a round on the board.
That smoke play is exactly what you're looking for as well. Layered on top of each other. Sure, you can drop and run through one smoke, but you can't run through 2, Tim. It looks so lost after Parley found that massive 3K as well. Just unmarked, and someone's going to be asking questions on the side of DZ there as how the hell did he get past us? But if that's the one mistake you make and you learn from it, round 2 can only get better.
I know a couple of thousand people that are hoping that round 2 is going to get better, Des, because it's been tough watching so far for the NA fans, but DarkZero managing to get themselves the first round, and the crowd here just showing they only need any opportunity to be screaming, and they will be doing it. So DarkZero head into their second defense now. It's going to be up on the top floor. It's Bunk and Daycare this time around. You feel like they just need a better round, Edge. Yes, they won that one, but still, it was a 2v3. It was waiting for Liquid to play into their hands inside a site. You just want DarkZero now to have that big round, to come in, couple of early kills, get on top. They need to be closing Palu and Nest down. They cannot allow this to continue.
Just close Polo and Nest down.
That's it. That's what they need to do.
I never realised it was so easy. I tell you what, the stairs are right there. Do you want to walk up there and tell them? Oh, and backstage, by the way, there's a clown wig. Go and put that on at the same time. Let's see how this round plays out now, though. We are 15 seconds in. So let's see where the attack begins for the side of Liquid. Again, they've enjoyed that kind of split push in the previous round, coming in from a couple of sides, looking to assault DarkZero and keep them guessing as to what's going to come in. So I think, again, if you've got that confidence on side, play into it once more.
Absolutely. Like I say, it's largely coming down to the opening or early round gunfights particularly, and the amount of times Team Liquid are able to give themselves that advantage. Palu up to the rooftop then. He's going to be opening up the hatches just to give a little bit of an opportunity for utility to go in there, drones to go in there, and potentially an access point likely to be over on the control side, which is the hatch that he's coming to now. Going to draw on that, and the push going to be coming over from that cache side.
They've got everything tried off in towards initiation as well, which we are very used to seeing. Similar thing inside a break room, just to make sure they're a little bit secure playing in the site itself. Hyper playing where we saw members of Liquid doing the same earlier. I want to say it was Ass that was playing on this side of the setup previously, just trying to keep them at bay inside of Cash, you know, do the same thing that Liquid was doing to them. Try and run the clock down, keep them guessing, find an entry or two, and really keep things moving.
Hyper just trying to take out a drone there. It's actually going to stay alive because he knows he can't lose his focus too much and turn away from that side because the push could come in towards him. Ask has got the yellow ping there, knows roughly where the angle is onto Canadian. We're going to have shots exchanged, but no damage done. Canadian just keeping himself safe inside of sight for the time being, and Liquid quite patient on the approach here.
Last time I remember Ask pushing from this position, Tim, he was on a Maverick and he got a 3K. He's essentially solo won the round for his team against G2 yesterday. Here he is on a Twitch, a bigger gun arguably, and able to do just as much damage as we get in towards that last 60 seconds of the round.
That's it. Liquid stalling out a little bit here. They've got themselves in that cache side, but then not too much movement forward. But that could be the catalyst as Ask manages to find an opener onto Canadian, and we see the respect in the Twitch chat. Sorry, not the Twitch chat, in the old chat there. There's probably no respect in there at the minute, but the old chat there, Canadian just giving the nice shot, and MJR looking to hold on. Pamba's down, not looking good for DarkZero as the Liquid push continues.
Yeah, just holding together here, DarkZero in a bit of a box formation there. You've got the four of them just all set around, trying to hold down these different angles of aggression. Two coming in from Cafe on the side of Liquid. They've got no idea. Hyper sat inside of Cafe. Diffuser downs him, and that could be the big difference maker.
It really could be. He just needs to hold on to this position, keep himself safe, but he's being pinched. Can he get both kills? No! Palu, Nesk, one apiece. Pamba just to find us 3v2. We've seen them able to do this before. 13 seconds left to go. The clock is on the side of DarkZero right now, but the kills are on the side of Team Liquid. It's all up to NGR. He gets the first. Can he get
Palu!
Palu goes in, and that man once again closes out the round for Team Liquid, who take the first map in spectacular style.
It didn't end up as a 7-0 for DarkZero, but Liquid, wow. What a statement on map 1. Coming in on DZ's map pick and showing them what's good. We go, of course, into Chalet next, Tim. And I think it doesn't matter what map you're stepping into. When Parlo is going 16-3, you've got to find an answer fast.
This is it, but what answer do you find? No team in the world has been able to answer that question when Palu is on his day. It's always difficult to name a player the greatest in the world, the greatest of all time, because there's always going to be an argument, but Palu is consistently in that argument every time, and that is the reason, because he is just unstoppable sometimes.
There are many questions to be asking for DarkZero here. How do they fight their way back in on Chalet? We'll go to a quick break. When we come back, we can have a bit more of a chat about that over on the desk, I'm sure, Tim, because that was looking rough.
Paris, Mexico, Stockholm. I have so many memories. I had a front row seat to see Goga qualify G2 Esports for the final after an unbelievable performance.
On the best team in the world.
I was there in Tokoname, where Nello won a legendary round all by himself.
Crossfire gets one on the Diesel and a second one on Amaranth. Oh, are you kidding me? The 1v4!
I was standing in that madding crowd at Montreal, stunned by the triumph of Space Station Gaming.
But it's home once again!
I was thrilled when Ninjas in Pajamas got its revenge in Paris.
Not bad.
Alamau in a 1v3 here. He makes the swing, he finds the headshot, and not just one.
I witnessed LMAO's demonstration in Mexico when he led Team 1 to a consecration against all odds. I was fortunate to see Damwon Kia making history in front of me in Yavle.
First Korean team who are progressing to the semi-finals.
But did I tell you I even saw as a nobody TSM FTX became the new world champions in Stockholm? This is it. This is my major story. And as an official hardware partner of Rainbow Six Esports, I feel blessed to witness them for such a long time.
And with a decisive victory over DarkZero in map number 1, Team Liquid find themselves one step closer to hoisting that trophy right next to Jesse. There you go. Yeah, I dare you to touch it.
I was told
Dare you to touch it.
explicitly,
No, don't touch
very
it. Don't touch it.
sternly, don't touch that.
They moved around with gloves.
They
Look
do.
at your dirty analyst hands all over it. Come on. Well, we're back at the desk here. Toa, Jesse, and Fresh here with you to break down that first map. But man, that was about as one-sided as you see it. Nearly as one-sided, literally, as you can see it. Team Liquid coming out so strong, 6-0 on defense. Then only took them 2 rounds to finish it off. What happened?
And I set it up that we would have to, if you were DZ, start fast. You would have to get them first couple of rounds under your belt, because if you give Liquid any chance of momentum, they will take it, and that is exactly what they did. I don't think DZ's strategy was necessarily wrong in most of their attacking rounds. It's just they just could not stop the force that was DZ, was Liquid.
Yeah. And I mean, I said something real quick when we were doing predictions, and is that DarkZero have chosen to start attack on every single one of these maps, or they've let Liquid choose defense. What that means is that they're going into all of these games where they have to be the ones taking that initiative. They have to be the ones moving forward. It's something that Pengu was able to say yesterday, was that like when you're in front of a crowd, when that pressure is so high, it can be hard to be the one to move, right? Being on defense, if you're a little nervous to start the game off, you can just chill out. You can sit there, and the attackers have to be the ones to come to you. And DarkZero are a team that have had problems with that mental game in the past. They have had problems with stalling out, choking some big tournaments in the past. And I know that they're a strong team. I know that they're going to be able to try something to come back against Liquid. But it's just such a tough first game. And even though the crowd in Charlotte is on their side, there's like a handful of very loud Brazilians in this crowd that are cheering for Team Liquid, and they were not making it easy for DarkZero.
I mean, look at the stats. The stats don't lie. I mean, Paulo, almost as many kills as DZ had as a team. Like, he didn't quite get there. It was close, but man, you were talking about this when we were watching the M-Fresh. Like, when the best players on Liquid come alive, there's not much that can stop the opponent, right?
They're absolutely activated, and DZ would have been wishing that it was yesterday Palu and Nesk who went negative. As it was, they got the Palu and Nesk that have dropped 24 kills on them over 8 rounds. Like, between the two of them, that's 3 kills around, right? It's like, that is just absolutely insane from those two. And it was a matter of time for when those two came alive. Unfortunately for DZ, it obviously was in this first game. And I think it was so difficult because it was your map pick, but you picked a theme park.
Yeah.
You picked a map that is so hard to attack. When realistically, you could have gone absolutely anywhere. If they'd have gone to other more 50-50 maps, and then get a couple of rounds on the attack, and they can stop that momentum.
Right.
But Theme Park, it was just so hard to even get one attack, and then, once you're 6-0 down, it's not going to go well for you, is it?
Yeah, and we kind of assumed that DarkZero picked this map because they saw Team Liquid play it yesterday, and they were able to plan out those defenses, figure out, okay, this is exactly how we want to attack things. But it did seem like they were really all over the place with their attacks. They played a total of 15 different offensive operators. A lot of teams will play the same 5 ops for the entire half, maybe a couple of switches, especially with attack or repick. But 15 operators is insane. They played Sledge, Thermite, Nook, Jackal, Dokkaebi, Buck, Twitch, Finka, Capitao, IQ, Sophia, Amaru, Osa, Gridlock, and Habana throughout those 6 rounds, which is an insane shift. Every single player played a multitude of operators, and it just didn't feel like they ever knew what they wanted to do. They were throwing things at the wall, trying to make something stick, and I almost just wish they would have gone for a couple more traditional operators. They played Finka, but it was only 2 rounds. Considering how strong she is in this meta, I just would have liked to see a little more of that.
And that's the pressure, right? That's the pressure of being 2-0 down, 3-0 down, 4-0 down. You're thinking, we've got to try something. We've got to try also. We've got to try a gridlock.
Right.
Anything that you've got to try. They maybe got inside their own heads a little bit. I know that's a concern we've had about DarkZero is that they can get inside their own heads. And I think particularly round 5 and 6, we saw that today.
Yeah, well, I think the most concerning moment for me was when they had that tack timeout after round 3, and then nothing really changed. The results kind of still stay the same. The rounds kind of still seem to flow the same way as they did before. But at the end of the day, DarkZero losing the first map in a series, even this weekend, has not been the end of the road, right? So we'll have to see what they can do on map number 2. Let's look ahead and talk about that a little bit. Going into the second map of the series, DarkZero, we've talked a little bit about what they need to do to bring it back. Jesse, would you say that it really is just kind of like pick something, stick to it? That's kind of DarkZero's kind of way anyway, right? You come in with a solid plan with all the operator swaps that happened in map 1. Was it just a lack of a plan or a change from the plan too early, a lack of faith in the plan? What do you think it was?
Well, listen, I mean, I want to focus on the second map because I do think there's a lot to talk about for Chalet. We say DarkZero have come back from map deficits, and you're right. They did lose the first map yesterday. The difference is that was Team 1's map pick that they lost yesterday. Now they're losing their own map pick. Now, the bright side here, to give some hope to the DZ fans in the crowd, is they're going to Chalet. Liquid did not pick a map that DarkZero are exceptionally weak on. In fact, they pick a map that DZ actually like to play quite a bit. DarkZero played Chalet in about half of all of their group stage games. And after avoiding it all of the NAL, so they brought it recently. They played every team once. They played an 8-6 game every single time, so it was always close. They ended up 2 wins and a loss to W7M. So they're used to this map. They've played a lot of rounds on this map this week. Now, that means there's a lot to VOD review, but at least they're comfortable on it. At least they know what their strengths and weaknesses are.
They have played teams that, I'm going to say it, they have played teams that aren't very good on that map, though, and gone to overtime. So if Liquid are good on that map, it doesn't look too good. I know G2 don't particularly like it. Heroic, not big fans of it. And then they lost to W7M on it as well. So The one good thing and the one saving grace for DarkZero, as I said, is they do have an exceptionally large map pool and strat pool that they can pull out. So they will be able to dig deep and find something, because obviously if they don't, they're going home.
Right, so maybe it's a matter of shaking off the rust after that first map. Maybe now they come alive in map number 2, and they'd better, because frankly, Liquid has a big head start, right? They already are alive. They're already throwing down tons of kills. We're going to send to a quick break while the players get ready, and when we come back, we'll see if DarkZero can tie it up or if Liquid punch their ticket to the finals. Don't go anywhere. The Charlotte Major returns in just a few.
Scared to fall in love again. Scared to fall in love again. Closer than I've ever been. Trying ways to let you in.
Welcome back to the Rainbow Six Charlotte Major. We're going into game 2 of this series, Tim. DarkZero versus Liquid. And if you just joined us and wondered when does the game actually start, well, we did just miss a 7-1 absolute slap-in by Liquid.
Yeah, there's no other way to call it, Des, to be honest. Liquid just absolutely dominant there, particularly Palu and Nesk. It was one of those days. We talk about them so often. How do you stop those two? Well, we are still struggling to find an answer.
I'm hoping that during the downtime, during the break, DarkZero have gone behind stage and gone, guys, how do we stop this? And someone just pipes up and goes, we just shoot him in the head?
It's about the only thing that you can do at the minute that's going to... I'm not even sure that'd slow him down at the minute, to be honest with you, because the problem is both of them were playing so well, so where one didn't maybe have an impact in a round, the other consistently did.
What I do like about Chalet is DZ are no slouches on this map. They've got some really good ideas for it. I've seen them execute onto Mezzanine really, really well over in NAL. We saw them on Chalet the other day. NJR's box play is phenomenal. It's really hard to take him out of that spot if you are not super coordinated and prepared. The only thing I'm nervous about is that Liquid will be. They've watched those VODs. They know what's coming. No doubt they have got a game plan here. Otherwise, they would not have chosen to come to this map. So it's not looking super good for DarkZero, but again, Tim, things can completely change between maps. Into the bans we go. Liquid taking away that trusty old Thatcher.
Of course, I mean, some of our absolute favourite games of all time have started off like that, with one team being completely dominant, and then we just see it completely flipped on its head in the second map, and that's what we're all hoping for, I think, to a degree here, for DarkZero to get through Chalet and take us into a third map. Let's get this competitive, and let's get the NA team firing. So the bans are firing through. It's going to be Thatcher, Hibana, Wamai. So no major surprises there, but the Hibana on Chalet, you know, maybe, there are uses there, of course, but the Hatcher's not always as important.
No, it's not so much for hatches. It's more for like the safety of destroying things at range as well, right? Think about the mezzanine wall is a great example when trying to push in through library. Interestingly for DarkZero, it's another matching hard breach plus one my ban coming in. The Valkyrie is the last one. No big surprises there. Mirror is useful on this map. DZ have run it. You can play it. But Valkyrie is arguably still just so much more troublesome, even if her cameras only now work inside. DarkZero, they opted to start on the attack. Many teams will tell you this map, it's very easy to attack. It's a nightmare to defend. So hopefully in this first half, we do see DarkZero come in swinging.
Well, this is the thing. What DarkZero need initially is a few rounds. They just need that confidence boost, that to build them up and really get them going. So we're going to see that hopefully in these first few. We're going to have Bar and Gaming being the first defensive side for Team Liquid. So they're going to be trying to hold on to that top floor. They're going to be trying to hold on to Library specifically. But they may do that by having a few players over in Master, Piano, Office, just to slow down any DarkZero push coming from that Solarium side.
Looking towards Ask already on the smoke and employing something that we saw Citizen actually employ for G2 the very first time round, running along with the smoke, playing on the smoke, sorry. The FMG coming in for the smoke with the shield also in tow. And we asked Citizen when that was first employed, why are you running this? And he was like, well, we need a shield. Frank's got a shield. We don't really need a warden. Maybe you need a warden these days, Tim. But back then he said, you don't really need a warden. The FMG's not a bad gun. You can play him as sort of this, not a hard roamer, but a perimeter player, because the gadget's extremely good. The FMG's not a bad gun. And if you don't need someone to be opening up rotation holes for you, don't bother with the shotgun. Just bring the FMG instead. Because, Tim, instead they've got an Aruni on side, and we all know about that gadget, don't we?
We certainly do, Des. We certainly do. We're going to see a couple of laser gates that have been deployed. There's one on the double window leading onto the office balcony, and then there was one inside a library as well. I'm not sure where the third one was placed, but I'm sure we will find that. There we go, a little game of hunt the laser gates, and we will find it out on the library window.
So this is exactly what I was talking about earlier on. Their attack on towards Mez is normally really, really good. Their focus often has been getting the player playing Capitao, and they've rotated through a number of them historically to come in from the office balcony and then burn the player out that's playing on Mez, force them into a line of sight being held by another attacker, and you pick yourself up a freebie. As it stands, though, the focus instead is going to be on Canadian employing these Rotero drones. So trying to get rid of all the gadgetry. If he gets in close, then wonderful. But Liquid yesterday were really good at dealing with G2's Roteros coming out on Cafe in the exact same position that you saw Nest doing damage earlier. They could barely get a Rotero onto it in the first round. I think they lost all 4 in their attempts.
It's always a position that a drone gets dropped into, is that in that corner. You can't just peek around the door because you've got somebody stood on double window waiting for exactly that to happen. So you've just sort of got to leave it there. But they were able to take it down from an alternative angle. Now then, that's going to be a sight to sore eyes for DarkZero as Palu takes a ton of damage at the beginning of the round there. Not quite enough to put him down or take him out, but it is certainly going to leave him weakened in gunfights.
Absolutely. I'm kind of concerned for DarkZero. You know, we're nearly 2 minutes in here and they haven't yet pushed their way through Mez. It's normally the big point of focus. Pamba starting things off. The Pamba party, same as it was on Theme Park, kicks off off in round 1. And Palu, the terror, the 16-3 rampage that he went on is not going to be present in round 1, but his backup buddy in Nesk is still here. Down goes Hyper.
4 versus 4, 55 seconds left to go, but NJR, he's going to take down Nesk, and that is a big start, a big piece of the puzzle for DarkZero here, continuing to challenge onto Mezzanine. PSK, he's going to hold on to it for the time being. We've seen him be able to keep these key critical areas locked down for Team Liquid so far through the Charlotte Major, and he continues to do so, but it doesn't matter because the team's falling down around him. Canadian gets asked, resets, manages to find Eclipse. PSK onto NJR. Team Liquid once again able to bring themselves back from the brink into a 2v2.
Yeah, there we go. PSK now from back of Mez as well. Pamba's rolling through. 2 big kills coming out. Resets working his way down the corridor here, of course, has the shotgun. If he gets in close range, can employ it to bring Pamba down as he pushes in. Clock's about to hit 0, and Canadian straight inside of sight, in behind the half wall. Can Reset stop him? He's worked his way in, but Pamba's got the cover from the stairs. DarkZero finding round 1.
That is going to work absolute wonders for DarkZero. Not only do they get the round that they need to kick things off, but they also dealt with Palu and Nesk particularly well, and that was a big, big problem for them on Theme Park. And the thing is, it's all part of that mental game. These players send fear ahead of them. I've absolutely no doubt of that because of their reputation, but DarkZero not concerning themselves with it, getting themselves round 1, and we'll head into round 2, where Team Liquid, I think, will be taking us to a different site, all the way down to the basement this time.
Interesting. We spoke about this a lot, Tim, when Chalet first got reworked and we saw it come into the pool. Everyone was like, you're never going to see that site. It's absolutely terrible. But in some regions around the world, it does get played and utilized. And clearly, this is going to be one of them. Now, Tim, you're a very, very passionate player for this site. You absolutely love talking about it. What are you expected to see, or what do you want to see coming out of DarkZero?
Well, the first thing that DarkZero need to do, and thank you, Palu, for shooting out the hatch here, because you've perfectly timed it for me to talk about it. The hatch has been left open. So the first thing that DarkZero need to do is they need to concern themselves with controlling dining room. They don't necessarily need to get in there. Some teams will go into office, open up verticals, and just prevent anybody playing inside a dining. That's all they need to do, really. You can't have somebody sitting on that hatch. The next thing that they need to do, get control of Big Garage and Trench, get a drone at the top of West Main Stairs so they can hold the flank, and then it's all about utilising that small 90 corridor around Trench, get the electrical wall open, get the West Main wall open, and then you can push in clear pillars out at the bottom of your screen now. There'll be a player position there. You get rid of them, clear out the shield, and you can move in and you can plant in safety because you've got a nice long angle from the Big Garage at the top of your screen all the way down, cuts that site in half, and nobody can move back across it. It's as simple as that, guys.
What I love here, we just saw for a second too, is we spoke about this a bit this week actually, the Goyo canisters being put on barricades or doorways, just perfect timing by the way, Eclipse. Unlucky there, an extra few milliseconds could have had a very different outcome. But we saw one of those Vulcan canisters down on the doorway that leads up in towards Trench. It did mean Canadian can come down and shoot it from the doorway, but it does stop things like rushes coming in. It means another 20 seconds or so wasted. Never a bad thing if you haven't got any other use cases for those canisters.
DarkZero have opened up the main snowmobile garage wall there. They're not putting too much pressure from that side at the minute. Eclipse is just waiting to see if there's any potential run out coming, but I'm just not sure about expending 2 exothermic charges there. It leaves them with just 3 Selmas, so it makes the take that I talked about previously a little bit more tricky should they choose to go for it. But right now, it's not 100% clear where DarkZero are shaping up to take from. They're still concerning themselves with the upper floors. Ask is going to find the kill onto Canadian, and Nesk, he's just holding down Library.
They're very split at this point, to be honest with you, Tim. You've got NJR coming in on Library side, you've got Pamba on off his balcony, Hyper's outside piano window, and I think they've got one also up towards Skylight side, so it's a little bit of work to do. In fact, I like Eclipse has moved his way down, so now he's also pushing in with NJR. Nesk knows that he's being threatened in on the other side. Can he find a kill? Yes, he can. Down goes NJR, and it's a 5 versus 3 for Liquid. Again, just building up those numbers advantages, Tim.
I think there just needs to be a little bit more aggression from Pamba there to take Nesk down before he gets that kill, but ultimately successful, leaving them now in a 3v4. But a lot of time and a lot of manpower has been burnt in trying to clear Liquid out from this top floor. They are still set up downstairs in the basement, and with only 45 seconds left to go, Liquid, they could be looking at a successful defense here.
Yeah, that shield also really powerful. 3 ADS is sat behind. It's going to make it an absolute nightmare. But as you say, that clock running low is never a good sign for the attackers. Pamba moving his way down these main stairs. Now, I don't think the side of Liquid know that he's got in here. There's no one in connector. You've got PSK sat just across from that point, spraying his way through the wall here, trying to get rid of that Selma. But I think it's gone off there. A smoke coming in onto the single wall as well. DZ going in for a plant, Tim.
There's a real opportunity for him here. They don't know about Pamper in main. He's going to take one down in blue. That's resets gone. Diffuser planted. And out of nowhere, DarkZero have got in and got themselves into a position to win their second attack here. Pamper with 3 in the round. Palu, he's battling from the bottom of main stairs. He's doing everything he can here, but his time is limited. 23 seconds to push in and get these 3 kills. It's not looking likely. And the North American team may well just have themselves a second round on the board. Palu taking his time, trying to find everything he can. What a beautiful shot onto Hyper, just threading the needle between the wall and the shield. But the time is running out. He's got about 5 seconds left to find 2 kills. Very unlikely. And this is going to tick away the sand running through the hourglass. The final kill. It's a 4K for Pamper. DarkZero take round 2.
Massive round for DarkZero, and it didn't have to be complicated either, Tim. They opened up Snowmobile, and sure, there was a bit of dancing around on the top floor to start the round off, but the actual execute itself was clinical. Get that Snowmobile garage door opened up. Pamper moves forward to hold off Blue. They have Eclipse inside a connector, and in comes Canadian for the plan. Easy as 1, 2, 3, and Liquid caught snoozing a little bit there, Tim.
Much more sort of old school, really.
Yeah, it is.
In the attack, getting in through
Much
that
more
main door.
ranked, dare I say.
I tell you what, Des, if it works, it works. It was a beautiful execution from DarkZero there, and they deserve the round for it. So 2-0 now, and they are going to be attacking onto a different site again. Team Liquid, of course, having the opportunity to go back to these sites and try and adapt if they want to, but DarkZero bringing enough to the table that the Brazilians are thinking, nope, let's go and try somewhere else. We don't want to risk that one again, so this is going to be kitchen and dining.
We've got PSK on the castle here. Tim, you know me, I see a castle, I'm always very curious about what the setup is going to be. So let's see where these barricades go down. A couple no doubt already going down up on this top floor. Just trying to help lock things down so Liquid can play on the vertical. For DarkZero, that likely means their focus is going to be, let's get control of the top floor. Someone likely going to have to come in and try and get control of the double window, blow out these 2 castle barricades, because that then gives you control of through across into piano and lets you shut down any players that are hanging around there. Thank you very much, Mr. Observer.
So we've got a lot of top floor presence. We've got Nest, we've got resets up there, and again, this has always been the problem, not just for DarkZero, but for other teams playing into Team Liquid, has been clearing these out. Canadian going to take a swing and a miss on the first one.
Swing and a miss,
Going to clear it with the second one. That's going to be the Sledge taking the trophy castle barricade out, and needs to be careful of the frost mat on the other side. Palu with an interesting late barricade there, just preventing any push-in from that side.
Gives you the notice, right? That barricade gets shot at. You're like, oh, okay, someone's in mud. You can try and react and move things over. And it's not exactly quiet either when you're battering away at those barricades. Look at dug in behind shields and all manner of utility here sat up on the top floor. For DarkZero, again, that focus is no doubt going to be on this top side. You've got NJR currently getting himself up on the double window as well, looking ready to capitalize on this window being opened up. What you normally see from teams is someone opens it up and then the other person is there ready to try and take a straight through. In fact, it's already open. So on the side of Liquid, they're going to have to be cautious about rotating back through bathroom and down into piano.
Nade coming in from Pamper, Ask able to just get himself into safety at the right time, but it was always a risky move for him if there was anybody on that double window. It doesn't matter about the double window, though, as Pamper, more aggression this time, gets himself in there, gets that opener onto Ask, and DarkZero a 5v4.
Beautiful stuff again. It's that numbers advantage they're looking for. Pamper's absolutely flying at 8-0. Did a lot of work for his team in the last round, so now it's not the question of how do you shut down Palu, it's how do you shut down Pamper. All the P's coming through across these 2 maps so far. Hyper marching his way up through piano, spraying through the soft wall, I think a matter of pixels away. May have well found Nesk, who's handling on the other side of the door. Those sound cams also employed here to help out on their march forwards.
Resets is just trying to do everything he can to stem the floor here. Palu, it is with the kill onto Eclipse, but just going to have to think DarkZero here about collecting that diffuser now that it's down on the ground. Hyper taking a little bit of damage, but Liquid also getting beaten up as Pamper finds a second in the round onto resets.
Oh,
managing to shut him down, going big with the kill onto Hyper as well. 3v2, and this one just flip-flops side to side. Canadian takes him down, and Nesk saying, anything you can do, I can do too. And it's going to be the Frostmat winning the round in round 3. It's 2-1 DarkZero.
We've all been there, Tim.
Me more than most.
We've all been there into the pog mats. Nesk just going nuclear inside of Solar there. 3K, just when it looked like DarkZero were on their march forward and able to get control of this top floor essentially for free. Nesk just pulls out a freak play like that and completely shuts everything down. Liquid with their first round on the board. DarkZero still up 2-1.
Not the end of the world for DarkZero. They don't expect to come out of this attack in half 6-0. If they can repeat that 3-round rotation, if they can get themselves a 4-2, that's pretty good for them. They're going to be happy with that because it sets them up then for the second half. 5-1, obviously, would be even more of a dream. Right now, they are going to be coming into round number 4. They're going to be attacking onto Bar and Gaming once again. A side that they dealt with reasonably well last time around. Managed to get the win. It was back in round 1. Pamba kicked us off with the opener onto Palu, and it really nullified the Liquid defense.
It did, yeah. It's not been a flying start for Liquid as it was back on Theme Park, but that last round may just be what gets the gears turning in this LATAM side. So with this Bar and Gaming, again, last time we didn't really see DarkZero get control of a critical area of the map. You know, looking in towards Mezzanine, they've normally been very good at dealing with that. It's why they bring along things like the Capital, and they've executed onto other NAL teams with extraordinary efficiency. But last time round had to rotate away, attack from a different angle, and I think maybe putting themselves into a less optimal execute situation was what really came back to bite them.
Canadian just going to be sending in the Twitch drones. Eclipse opening up the snowmobile wall there, so that's going to give a little access into basement. So interesting push from DarkZero here. Could be coming up because usually we'll see a lot of attention towards top floor, towards library, getting in there. But right now, NJR and Hyper just down looking to potentially push into the basement and move up from underneath.
A lot of teams do that because then you can come up the lobby stairs and open that single wall that looks into the connector room or the wine storage down towards the south side. That's a really big power position if you're trying to plant on half wall. So getting yourself in the basement, working your way up, opening that wall means that you are in a much better position to plant inside of gaming. So look out for that one because it's resets. He might find himself forced away.
Hyper just needs to get the angle to get that Selma charge on. He will do it. NJR's there in a position to protect the Selma charge and make sure it doesn't get shut off. It's going to be activated. There we go. Job done. And resets, as you say. He's going to have to move himself away because otherwise he'll find himself in danger. But right now, PSK still in his position on Mezzanine there. And that's exactly the angle that NJR was covering so that he couldn't shoot the Selma off. Yeah.
In case you're wondering why they opened the top of that wall inside a connector, by the way, it's so they can get a nade over the top, get rid of the new jumper on the other side that was blocking the lower half, and now they've got the lower side opened up too. So Reset's not really able to play in that position anymore. And to match that, he has then moved himself a little bit closer towards the half wall. So on-site things are happening, but off-site, it's Nesk looking to cause a little bit of hot bother.
Which he has done consistently so far today. And DarkZero need to be getting PSK moved here. They can't allow this power position to remain for Team Liquid. We can see the attempts are starting to mount. The bullets are coming in, but PSK still pretty comfortable in keeping his position there. Previously, we've had Pamba pushing from the office balcony window to try and get in here and affect this position, but this time it seems like they're just leaving him a little bit more to it, and they're going to try to push in directly for the plant.
So they should be, yeah, they've got that control again where Reset shouldn't be able to play too close, but he's right up on the window here, Tim. If he holds tight here with the shotgun, he can get himself a couple of kills. Out comes the first Capital Firebolt. He's down to a slither of HP. Swing should be free. Canadian comes in and brings him down. They've got a position here to play with, Tim, but they've got to make it happen in the next 30 seconds.
4 versus 4. They've certainly got the manpower. Ask is going to dip around the corner, just put out the Toxic Babe canister. It will be his last, so there's going to be about 10 or 15 seconds that Team Liquid need to actively defend here for, and it's going to be down to Ask to win this swing. He needs to stop them coming in through this double window. He's unable to do it. Canadian on the cover, and that is an opportunity for him to get the diffuser down. Eclipse, he finds, does he know he misses the shot? Able to get in with a round-defining double as he manages to take down the planter and the cover, and that's going to be Team Liquid holding on to Bar and Gaming.
Team Liquid, Tim. I don't know about you, that looked like Palu to me. A massive 3K, like in what world do you get a swing like that and get away with it for free? It's unbelievable. Nesk one round, Palu the next. They're just on one of those days.
Eclipse was unfortunate there. He was low health. If you have a look, he's only on 20 HP, so it literally takes one shot from Palu and he manages to land it. Eclipse effectively, when Palu swings around that corner, Eclipse is looking for headshot or nothing, because otherwise that's going to be the outcome, and it was a tough fight for him to win. There's debris there, there's all sorts going on, and Palu able to take full advantage of that and get himself a round-defining couple of kills, and what a play from Team Liquid. So that's going to send them back down to the basement. 2-2 on the scoreboard now, and DarkZero, they are going to be looking for more on the attack.
Absolutely. Last time round was just a straight through snowmobile garage door push. If you recall, Pamba really being the tip of the spear and that charge forward into the room itself. Eclipse off towards the right side of Connect whilst Canadian stuck the plant. Now, Tim, they could rotate over and go for the push that you mentioned. Instead, try and put all their focus up towards Trench, come down West Main, for example, and make that your attacking point. For Liquid, I'm pretty sure they'll have better ideas this time around on how to deal with a more conventional snowmobile garage execute.
Yes, I would have thought so. They probably won't necessarily get away with the same thing. So we're going to see Liquid off around the map once again. PSK has been not necessarily getting the kills, but just proving a real problem again for DarkZero to deal with. He's been doing it consistently through the tournament, just being placed in very important pivotal positions and just holding on to them. Like I say, not over-peaking, not getting too aggressive, and just doing a real job for his team. Nesk up inside a library once again. We saw him in this position. He was trying to hold on to Mezzanine. He was dealt with, but I think he got a couple of kills before they were able to do so.
I do really like Liquid's roam game, especially from what we've seen here so far in the playoffs. We saw it yesterday in the quarters. Please, no, Eclipse, no, not again. That's twice now that's gone off this time. We're going to have to go for it again. I don't think there's another one that's been chucked on the wall here, so it will be opened up, but that one exothermic being taken away means they can't now commit that up towards the trench walls.
Nope, that's done, so we're going to see, I would imagine, the same sort of take coming in from DarkZero. They're going to try and get themselves control of the stairs, of that main wall, and get inside and put the diffuser down. Still very possible for them. Nesk playing inside of Mezzanine. He's just going to prevent the push coming in through the single window there by detonating the Vulcan canister, and that's going to just buy him a little bit of time. Palu getting aggressive, takes a lot of HP off Hyper, but he is able still to win the gunfight, downs him and finishes him off with the pistol.
Quite rarely, Tim, we're not seeing a finger coming out from DarkZero, so Hyper will stay on about 5 HP, a single bullet from death as Nesk gets out of dodge. He's gone down through lobby, almost dying out to Canadian, I think, who almost had him, but no, gets himself away for now. DarkZero still with the numbers advantage, and they make it even larger, Tim. 2 kills, Nesk resets off the board. PSK and Ask, there's a lot of work to do if you want to hold on.
Eclipse and NJR doing a great job there, and there's another one down. It's going to be Pamper. It's 5v1 now for DarkZero. Surely another round that they are going to be able to put on that scoreboard. It's all up to PSK inside of sight. 1v5, 1 minute left to go. There's an absolute age here for him to hold on, and DarkZero, they are not planning on making it any easier. The Selma charges going off, just giving further access in towards sight. PSK getting pinned back inside of Wine Cellar now, and the best he can do is try to just pin down one area. He knows now nobody can push from trench for 20 seconds, so he's just going to look towards the front side.
Definitely one of those, I'm in danger moments, right? He knows what's coming. He knows DarkZero have had the best part of 60 seconds to drone him out. They have 5 of those left alive. They know where he is. They know what the best point to push coming is. NJR dropping down and going for the firefight. Finds it for free. A flawless round for DarkZero, and that's more of what we wanted to see, Tim.
Absolutely. A big play there towards the end. PSK unable to get himself anything in that 1v5, and DarkZero now 3-2, and they really want to be looking for this last round. Round 6 on the attack, get themselves 4-2 before heading into that second half. It's going to be Kitchen and Dining that they're attacking onto, and I tell you what, a few more rounds like that and they're really going to wake this audience up.
Castle once again coming in here for PSK, so you will see Liquid once again move up to the top floor, put their focus on getting those castle barricades down on the double window, on the single one leading from Master in towards Piano Hall, and really again just try and lock things down with shields, with frost mats. Let's not forget that frost mat that won them the round last time round as well, although it did mostly come down to Nesk with a massive 3K inside of Solar. Does lightning strike twice? Easier about to find out.
Bomb located by
PSK just getting up there onto the top floor. Castle barricades going in. We're going to have one on the single door. Prevents somebody sitting on that double window rappel. There's going to be a castle barricade on there. So obviously very concerned about that angle coming in. It's going to take a lot of utility to gain that for DarkZero and just prevent that push coming in through Piano.
That's why I think you've got Eclipse here moving over to the Ash. Gives you the ability, of course, for those breaching rounds. It's so weird whenever I see an Ash these days. I'm just like, wow, that operator that we haven't seen in about 3 months.
Very uncommon now.
Very, very uncommon, but in this kind of situation, still going to be very useful. The breaching rounds, great for getting rid of those castle barricades. The charges for opening up the floor alongside Canadian. It gives you that insurance choice. So here, a really good choice for Eclipse.
Canadian going to be opening up the library window, so the hole that they're trying to build here, Team Liquid, on that Piano side is potentially going to come under pressure from the opposite side, where they're concerned about that double window and the long peek through. It may well be that it's coming from the bathroom side. Ask, he's holding down a long angle into library at the minute. He just sees the debris fall there, so he knows that the barricade has been taken out and that somebody is going to be trying to push in through that side. Hyper just getting on the drones. There's a couple of the DarkZero team ahead of him as well, just trying to give that information.
As it stands so far, no big firefights taken either as well, outside of opening up barricades, for example. It's a lot of drone work and respect being shown by DarkZero. You just saw Canadian, NJR, and Pamba all sat on drones there. 3 of your big kind of aggressive players that have had a great week so far, just slowing things down and making sure they know what the protocol is. Canadian starting to pressure inside of Piano, so Ask is forced to dip away, at least for now. The shield that was down inside the library hall, taken away.
That's just relocating there, and now doesn't have that utility to play behind, so instead he's just going to keep himself hard up against that wall, try and engage anybody who comes up to the window, get the close angle on them, peek around. It's going to be Canadian who is on that side of things. But playing with a little bit of caution here, he will likely know that he's got the opportunity to hop inside a Piano if he wants, and Ask has actually dipped back even deeper here.
As I said, there's 4 of them all around Solar. A mix between Trophy Stairs and then Solar itself. In fact, all 5 players, for some reason, are right at this top side of the map. PSK has dropped down into the basement, I think, and is looking to try and go for a bit of a run out. A bit of damage coming in, but the rest of them are just holding ground here as well, moving back in towards kitchen and dining as DZ take control of the top floor.
There'd definitely be a possibility to get that wall open and breach into dining, get the diffuser down. Pamba, he gets one, he could try to get a second, but it's going to be NJR, and Team Liquid's defense is starting to fall apart again. Reset, he's going to get taken down by Hyper, and DarkZero have got a bit of vertical control now, and an opportunity to push on towards site. It's a 2v5 for Team Liquid, 35 seconds to go.
I was just about to say, all 5 left alive is the crucial piece there. There has been no triple kill coming out of Nesco. Madness from Parlo, at least not yet. This is looking like the best chance that DZ have got to get a clean round win. They've got about 20 seconds left though, Tim, and that's what makes me a little bit nervous, is it all comes down to you trying to go for a plan or pushing for kills. You miss one person, everything can fall apart.
Paulo able to get in there and find a flank kill onto Canadian, manages to get a second, but then is closed down. He clips Hyper, they close it out, 4-2 to DarkZero at the half.
That's what you're looking for, Tim. A much better first half in this map. Look back at Theme Park and see that 6-0. It's a thing of the past. DarkZero have forgotten all about that and had a wonderful showing here on Chalet. All we're hoping now is that it continues through into this second half, that Liquid don't suddenly awaken from their slumber on the attacks, and that we get that map 3 on Oregon.
A real key round coming up for DarkZero. Now, I often talk about
one of your favourites.
7, 8, 9, it changes game to game. It depends on the flow of things, but right now, DarkZero do not want Liquid taking their first attack. They need to come in here, get a solid defense, get themselves 5-2, plenty of breathing space, because we know this is going to be the more difficult side of this map for them. It's going to be bar and gaming to kick things off, but we know DarkZero, they've got a good opportunity to hold on to this.
This is purely anecdotal, by the way. I've got no stats to back this up, but I'm pretty sure this is DarkZero's favourite site on this map. And large part of that comes down to how they hold it. They're quite unique in that NJR plays inside the box, inside a library. He's the only player that really sits there. They have a little rotation hole that opens up that you can see him going through now. And he just kind of darts left to right, back and out through that box with a bit of support coming in from Mez. They don't have a player on the library stairs, but that kind of forward angle that's held by NJR makes it really hard for teams to come pushing in. So for Liquid, again, this is what I wanted to see most of all. You've picked this map, you know DarkZero play this map, and you know they are really unique with this signature box hold. You need to have an answer, because if you come in here without an answer, DarkZero can walk through the rest of this map.
Palu very, very cautious in approaching there. There hasn't really been any early aggression from either side in these rounds when they've been on the defense, but still paying that due diligence, not wanting to get picked up early to a peak. Canadian, he's going to be roaming around on the far side of the map, getting himself inside a dining and kitchen, making it difficult for Team Liquid to get themselves established inside a trophy. But the battle is really going to come down to that top floor. As you say, NJR playing in and around library box and being supported on the mezzanine. That is the problem that Team Liquid need to find an answer to.
Absolutely, slowly does it. You hear that bulletproof going off there, which catches one of the Roteros, of course, to change the cane through to those bulletproofs quite some time ago now. And with 2 of them on site, well, drones aren't going to get too far in. I think Ask here at the bottom is going to get rid of at least one of them. Must not have been watched at the time as it came ringing on through, which means now one can force its way to the top of those stairs and look for the setup, the ADSs, all the rest of it that's scattered around on mezzanine.
Canadian just holding himself down in the basement at the time being. I think he's just trying to keep himself off the radar. Ask, he's going to take a bit of damage. Good start for DarkZero there. NJR getting aggressive. We've seen this previously. He keeps one of those ADSs with him, and he can move into this corner and get more aggressive once he knows that he's safe to do so. And that is exactly the play. Ask sends in the Rotero. Surely that gets taken down by NJR. It does indeed. Left. And now it's going to be very, very difficult for Ask to get himself in through that window. Throwable utility trying to make it difficult for NJR. NJR. Here goes Nesk on the knock throw. I'm not sure they're aware as he's pushing up the main stairs. There's one hard left, led prone. Are they aware that the knock is approaching? Yes, they are! Panther 2 manages to get the kill onto Nesk. 5v4 and another great start for DarkZero.
That could have been the big upset there if Ness gets inside a library, brings down Hyper. NJR's left unsupported and isolated. It's an easy second kill coming in for Liquid, but no, Pamba with a big step across, and Liquid look in trouble by this whole team. They haven't really figured out how to get rid of Hyper. NJR, all this hole that they've got set up right now is mostly untouched, so for Liquid, I don't feel like they've done the homework here, Tim.
It feels like it's going to need one of those hero play moments, somebody to just go in as a spearhead and take a couple of kills. PSK, he manages to get Hyper. That's the first piece taken apart. Resets onto Eclipse, but DarkZero come back fighting. Canadian with a trade. Liquid still on top though. 3v2, and all of a sudden they find themselves in control when it looked like they were stalling out here. Pamba, he's going to drop himself back into sight. Resets, he is on site himself. He's able to start finding some angles. He can surely cover a potential plant here. Ask is moving in. He has diffuser in hand. He has an opportunity potentially to put it down, but Pamba with a big kill. And there we go. Pamba with a second. It's all up to Ask, but surely this is going to be a simple matter of mopping up. They can't find him. The diffuser plant is going to be successful. And all of a sudden, there's an opportunity in a 1v2 for Ask. He's on the pistol. He's taking the shots. He's dancing back and forward. He gets Pamba with another 4K on Chalet.
It's 15-3, Tim. We're into Pamba Party territory, ladies and gents. He's saving so many rounds here. DarkZero accelerating that lead. Now it's 5-2, Tim. That is what they wanted to see.
I'm just wondering if everybody is enjoying the Pamba Party days. He is really kicking off at this point.
Whew, okay. Liquid, unsurprisingly, tactical timeout coming in. One of those rounds where, like I said at the very start, they need to have done their homework here and have an answer to what we see DZ doing on this site time and time again. It was far from clean. They did almost have solid answers, you know. I think when we had Palu coming out of basement, I was like, no way he's going to get two here on the flank. But Pamba had the answer. In fact, that's twice in that round, Nesk and Palu, that he's caught coming up on a flank that really could have spelt disaster for DZ.
Honestly, this is exactly what DZ needed. As we said, in that first map, it was Palu and Nesk who just took over everything. They ran the show on Theme Park, and DarkZero needed that hero. They needed that man of the moment to step up and start doing something in response, and it has definitely been Pamba here on Chalet. That's going to be the tactical timeout over for Liquid. The discussions there, Hugzo, the coach, able to get in the comms with the team and just have a little bit of a quick brief as to what's going wrong, what do we need to change. Right now, I think the only answer they're going to have is similar to the one that we gave DarkZero in the first map, and that is, you got to deal with Pamba, but how are you going to do it?
I'm really getting those throwbacks to Yendler in Sweden, Tim, all over again. That map 3 just going the full distance.
You've just got the
Please,
feeling.
Pamba.
Got the feeling.
We all pray to our God Pamba today to keep this one going. I'm sure that he can. It's 15-3 for God's sake. After a pretty messy first map from DarkZero, again, a very different conversation. My only nervousness is that it's Pamba doing all the hard lifting. But equally, you can look at the other side and say, well, it's a pretty messy affair. Palu's really the only one pulling ahead right now. The others haven't had a massive foot into the game just yet. Liquid, the ones caught snoozing at the wheel here, and Pamba, he is light years ahead.
DarkZero going to be defending kitchen and dining this time. Very similar setup to we saw coming out of Team Liquid. 3 of the castles going to be in the same position, piano window, and then the single door and double window in from master bedroom. So just trying to keep that corridor safe for rotations for the defenders. They can play aggressively to begin with up on the corner of piano, and then they can drop back safely into bathroom, into solarium as they need to do so. That's what a roam game like that, an extension, is all about. It's taking that challenge at a point and dropping that line back time and time again. You want as many points as you can get, really, because you're burning more time each time they have to clear you out of another position.
Here we go, that double window being opened up by the breaching charge, and now Palu in a spot to pull it out. Resets looking for the next one as well, and that will give him that angle again.
I think he's just
straight
missed.
through on the top floor. Oops. Did that one get it? That might have fell short.
He's going to have to use the nades to open up the castle, and it still hasn't happened. The Gon 6 hit the ledge of the window and actually did a little bit of damage to resets rather than going through and clearing out the castle barricade. So that is going to massively slow down what was looking like quite an explosive attack from Team Liquid.
And Nest's on the other side of the map. It's hard to bring him across to get rid of it for you, because then you're completely leaving one side of the map, the library side, very open and bare. Canadian, he loves it down here in the basement, Tim, especially on this Belusi. He's worked his way back down there once again, and it's just waiting for that invitation to pop up.
Ness now has got himself established inside a library. He's going to be sweeping across from that top floor. Hyper able to just take down the Selma there, but here comes Ness from the far side. Shut down immediately by NJR and Pambazu as they take out Palu and Ness. And that is now a 4 versus 3 despite losing the entry kill. It just doesn't matter to DarkZero right now. They've got their momentum, they've found their energy, and in come the kills. Canadian Eclipse. They managed to get 2. It's now a 4 versus 1 with a minute left to go. PSK has got time on his side, but that's about all he's got.
Absolutely. I mean, PSK has been a stonewall throughout, but on the attacking side, it's a little bit of a different story. Gotta find something in this round in the last 45 seconds, but against the 4 members of DZ, I think we all know, Tim, it is more than unlikely. It's basically impossible. That will put us at a 6-2 to DarkZero. We've had an absolute slapping on Theme Park. We'll have the same again on Chalet, and that third map, you just don't know which way it can possibly go. DarkZero get the round. They're at match point.
And JR there sending the final message in this round in DarkZero, sending a message to Team Liquid in this map that yes, we may not have shown up on Theme Park, but we are here to play in Charlotte.
I just love how between the 2 maps, again, picked by one team, won by the other, picked by the other, almost won by the other. We're about to get over that finish line, Tim. And I'm pretty sure with how things have gone for DarkZero those last 2 rounds, there should be no stopping them. Wine and Snowmobile, where we're going to see the last bastion coming out here for DarkZero. Liquid, it's looking dicey. Even with Paolo and Ness having a good couple of rounds throughout, you're just not seeing the magic we saw back on Theme Park.
No, not at all. It's going to be down to the basement we go for DarkZero. Wine is going to be potentially their final stand here. If they can get this one done, it will be a map on the board. It will be 1-1. It will be us going to all 3 to decide who goes into tomorrow's grand final.
Love a Thunderbird, Tim.
Love a Thunderbird.
Honestly, with the amount of healing we see coming in from defenders, because the current state of the game and the reason why Finker is so strong is that you're essentially giving your entries even more juice. They've got 2-3 hit kill guns, things like the ARX or the LMG. Walk in, 2 or 3 hits, they're dead. You're coming up against an attacker that's got like 130 odd HP. They're more juiced up. Unless you land a headshot, there is a very, very good chance they're going to kill you in a 1 versus 1. You come out the fight, you get juiced back up again by Finker, you can go and do the same thing all over again. It's so difficult to play against, and that is why you see a lot of teams complaining about things like the LMGs at the moment. But on the other side with that Thunderbird, it does mean if you get into a firefight or take a few nicks on the way through the map, you do have the ability to kind of step back and get yourself juiced up once more.
Here we go then, into the action phase. Pamba's getting aggressive here. He might just get an opportunity, but they're aware. PSK says not today. And he's going to find a beautiful headshot through onto Pamba to take down that potential spawn peak. DarkZero maybe just getting a little bit carried away there, but it's not the end of the world. They've got the space to do that now, to try and play with that confidence and get into the heads of Team Liquid. But the Brazilians come out on top 5v4 in the early round.
Yeah, Liquid just showing the respect there that I think Pamba commands. 16-4 so far in the map, with 16-3 of course until that death just a second ago. But against DZ, you can't just take things for granted. Paolo, they're taking Canadians live for 5 versus 3, and this is before they're even inside the building, Tim. Hyper finding one back and finally giving DarkZero something in this round.
That's it, it's time now for the others on DarkZero to step up. Pamba has done the heavy lifting, and he is off the board, but the others are more than capable. Hyper getting them going and keeping things close. 4 versus 3, and he's going to keep himself active up on the top floor, which causes a problem for Team Liquid. They can't necessarily just push to side. If they do, they're going to have somebody assigned onto a flank potentially. They've got PSK on the Nomad, but they have to get him inside of the side really, or inside of the map to be able to deploy those air jabs.
Liquid pause at that 2-minute mark, and only really about 10 seconds ago did they all come off drones. They've done their homework here. They're digging in deep, and Hyper being taken down. That first kill that he found now being equalized by the other side. NJR and Eclipse dug in sight here as well. C4s and smokes in back pockets. Got to do all they can to hold on.
Eclipse just looking for the long angles through to Trophy there, but just deciding that it's time to get himself back into sight and not leave things too open. Although he may just look to get himself up the blue stairs there and keep causing a problem. I love this aggression coming out of DarkZero, continually taking the fight to Team Liquid, who are now established on the rear side of site. They're going to get that west main wall open and then move round onto Trench. So you're going to see largely the take that I was talking about at the beginning of the game here. So NJR, he's going to be the next person coming under real pressure.
It's like a game of chess where you can just see the checkmate coming in here as well, just setting everything up. And outside of a miracle here, big play coming out, just like that, Tim. Eclipse and NJR finding one, the name coming in. Eclipse left in a 1 versus 2. PSK and Palu, they've got about 25 seconds to work with here. They're currently split, Tim, so there's no real play for a trade. If Eclipse can win this one out, what a way it would be to send us to map 3.
It's going to be difficult to get the diffuser down because there's nobody to hold the cover here, so it's going to be a solo effort. There goes the flash. Eclipse knows he's going to be pushed. He manages to take shots. He gets some damage onto PSK. He really could have done with the kill there. It's giving Palu an opportunity to get that diffuser down. We'll also have a Thinker boost to give a bit of HP back. PSK predicts the movements and he takes Eclipse down as he drops through the hatch. That's going to be Team Liquid getting themselves their third round 6-3, but plenty of opportunity still for DarkZero to close this out.
Absolutely, yeah. Look, that was a really good start to the round for Liquid as well, finding 3 kills, making it a 4 versus 2. You get that brief moment of excitement where you just think, oh, DZ can do this. I found 2 kills, Tim, but just couldn't quite connect in towards blue. And that ultimately is what gives them the 2v1 advantage, enabling the plant to go down and Liquid to hold on. It's 6-3. They've got 3 rounds they can play with here, Tim. They can rotate through all their sites as much as they like, barring gaming we're going to go into. And let's not forget, Liquid really struggled to break this hold last time. They couldn't force them off Mez, they couldn't get rid of NJR from Library. They made it really difficult for them.
That's been the real key for DarkZero here, I think. In the back of their minds, they know no matter what happens down in the basement, they've got bar and gaming to come back to. And it is just such a strong site for them that there's going to be a lot of confidence from them that they can get it done here and they can get this one going into that third match. So we're going to be heading in towards the action. We know exactly what we're going to see from the DarkZero defense here. We're going to have NJR playing in Library box and maybe moving himself into Library proper later in the round. Hyper will support from Mezzanine. The question is, it was Pampa last time who did a lot of work as well on the kills with the rotations. The question is, how do Liquid deal with this?
It's a very old Empire style of setup, I must say, where you just kind of say, right, we're going to run the same thing and we're going to do it so well that even if you feel you've got the perfect counter, we will have an answer. Why change what ain't broken? Liquid haven't cracked this defense yet, so USDZ have no real onus to respond or change things around. You got Hyper once again on Mez, NJR sat inside of the box. It's literally a carbon copy of the last time they were here, Tim.
Reset's going to take the early angle onto those windows. Liquid just remaining cautious after Pamba attempting the spawn peak last time around. PSK did come out on top, so I think that will have been message received for DarkZero. I don't think they'll be trying that one again, but still Liquid just making sure that they're not going to get caught out. NJR in his favourite position. It's just like his reset point, isn't it? It's like whatever happens to NJR, he just comes back to Library box.
I joked the other day that he's like a cat who's found his box and just simply does not want to leave. He's got ADSs scattered around as well, mainly inside a Library behind like the little display cases to catch any nades that come ringing on through. Hyper still largely untroubled, and you ask the question really towards Liquid. They've got to use ADSs to protect 2 players here. They can't catch everything. Combo a little bit of utility. You've got 3 flashes in the back pocket of PSK. You've got frag grenades to play behind. You've got impacts, all this utility that you can throw at these 2 players. Yet so far we've seen none of it.
Palu taking a chunk of damage from NJR there. He's just so proficient at that little one-tap around the corner, but Hyper, he sees some damage as well as Ask manages to find his feet, and that's just going to force him back out onto Mezzanine. He was trying to get a little bit aggressive, but only 5 drones left for Team Liquid here, Des, and that could play into the later round if they're just lacking that information, if they even manage to break through this Library hold. As it stands, we're still at a little bit of a stalemate. Liquid unable to get in here.
I think Hyper getting flagged out by that scan as well. They know, of course, exactly where he is. Still sat on Mez. Why would he have dared move away? Now we're going to start seeing utility coming in, a nade over the top. But again, those ADSs are present. We've got to see the utility stacking out of Liquid here. You know, the flashes need to come in first.
This is one of the best defenses that I have seen inside of this game. But Reset, he manages to find the key. He unlocks them and manages to get both Hyper and NJR taken down. But it's taken 2 minutes and 10 seconds for Liquid to get control over that top floor, and they still don't have Pamba shut down. Eclipse, he manages to find Ash. Pamba goes in for the challenge. He's unable to find the kill. He comes back for more, but Resets is able to shut him down. 4v2 now.
Eclipse back on side again. He's able to play at least this time inside of sight with those smokes. Canadian bringing one back. They find a second. No way they pull back this 4 versus 2. Have they learned from past mistakes? Tim Resets is on about 5 HP. He steps in for the quad. He's going for it all himself as well. The ace potentially on. It's Canadian versus Resets for the round win, for the map win. Drops in. Canadian's present. He finds the win. One more all the way to 3 map spin.
And that is what every single person here wanted. We want to see this one go the distance. DarkZero managed to find themselves an answer to that Team Liquid aggression that we saw on Deep Park. But DarkZero, they bring plenty of their own to Chalet, and we are going all the way.
Really got to give a shout out to the miracle maker of that game, Tim, Pamba. 16 and 5, man. We were talking about Palu back on Theme Park. He was 16 and 3. Pamba's just stepped up and basically matched that.
That's the only answer that you can give, isn't it, realistically? If a player like Palu is going to go that big, you have to just get in there and say, you know what, we've got that in our locker too. And DarkZero just really giving us. They've set the stage now for what will be a massive finish to this semi-final.
You know what was really funny? Tim and I, after game one, were like, oh, we just want a long game because we had a quick one yesterday with Liquid versus G2, and it looked like this one could be a quick one too. Thank God DarkZero have battled their way back in, because going into Oregon, it's anyone's guess what happens. You do not want to miss this. Back in a few minutes.
Hello and welcome everybody to our brand new podcast.
He's scratching.
Tim had a great name for them if they did give it away yesterday.
Looking for throw.
Even if we're a bit afraid of you, we're not going to lose to you, that's for sure. So bring your horsepowers, you know.
What are all those medals behind you?
I saw that just casually there.
It's right
just,
here.
it's a Mexico Major Shield.
Yeah, it is.
All right, welcome back everybody to Charlotte, North Carolina for the Rainbow Six Siege Major. Doa Fresh, Jesse here with you at the desk. Guess what? We're gonna go to map 3, but first we gotta break down map 2. It was a DarkZero victory on Chalet, 7-3, and that's what we were looking for, right? That's what we were hoping, DarkZero getting back into it.
Nice to see DZ back on the horse. That 7-1 was really disappointing. If this had been a similarly decisive map favoring Team Liquid, this would have just been an incredibly disappointing match for the NA fans here. But DarkZero fighting it back, and I think a large reason is the map that we ended up going to. DZ, very strong attacking team, very good at clearing out those roamers, and that's so much easier on a map like Chalet, just because I feel like the roamers are separated farther from the site players. You're able to isolate them a little bit better, and we saw that from DarkZero.
And I think ultimately they will regret that map pick of Theme Park for this precise reason. Is you get them on a map, even if it's not their highest preference map, you get them on a map where it is nice and attacker favored. You can do lots of things on the attack, have a lot of freedom, get map control, and you reap the reward. That was a 4-2 attacking split. It should have been a 5-1 attacking split, and then from there they were nice and confident to see it out in the second half.
Yeah, it was beautiful to watch from DarkZero, and it gives me hope for map 3. I mean, obviously, that's still a bit of ways here, but at least their momentum's going to be back into it, right? I was so worried that we were going to hear just a handful of Brazilian fans in the crowd get way too loud. It's going to completely tilt DarkZero, but that didn't happen. They were really in the server.
And I think we saw it yesterday, actually, was that, people like Pamba and Hyper, it took them a game to get going. And it was the same in the first game. They were pretty poor in the first map. Second map, the mental was good, and it was good to see that they actually had that mental fortitude to just not roll over and die. They came back, they came through.
That's right, so here's some stats from that map. Obviously a big win, but Pambazu, really the player to come most alive on DZ, putting down a pretty incredible scoreline.
He was having a party. This was a fantastic game from Pamba. First of all, starting on the attack, I thought that he was really hitting a stride. We saw him playing a lot more of that Finka. This is something I said about that first map. DZ played a million different operators on attack the last map. This time Pamba was generally on the Finka, I believe 4 out of 6 rounds. So generally playing that operator, finding so much success with it. Obviously the LMG, the grenades, the heal, all so useful. And then on defense as well. I mean, starting off with a nice little 4K on the roam. You can't be upset with that.
He went from Pamba poopy time in game 1 to Pamba party time in game 2.
Wow.
So we've got to see how that continues going into game 3.
It's a good direction to go, I guess, if you want to make it to the grand finals tomorrow, but we still got one map left. But let's talk a little bit more about this one here. Now, with DarkZero, it's a team where it's like I was saying in the pre-show, man, they're like Bowser from Mario Kart. They take time to get going, but once they do, they've got the momentum. They go faster than nearly anybody, right? But the question is, can they keep it going for a third map?
I don't know. We're really going to have to dig into their Oregon attacks and see if this is something that they are going to be proficient on. Like, the problem is Oregon tends to be quite defender-sided. There's a lot of similar things you can do. But I do think Liquid are a squad that can get a little bit more out there, that can push out of the basement every now and again, that can kind of go for some of those aggressive holds. And so if they go for that style of play, DarkZero might be able to lock down a couple more of those rounds. But I do worry a bit for DZ, just given the map that we're headed to next.
Yeah, speaking of a couple rounds, I believe we do have a couple of them to break down here individually. We got a couple to talk about because although DZ did win the map, back around like round 4-ish fresh, it didn't look as much of a sure thing. There was a little issues on execution. It wasn't as clean as it could have been.
Yeah, and this is that type of round where we know what DZ are going to do. They're always going to go for the plant. They don't have sufficient map control here to go for the plant. You see they get the kill onto resets there. They don't have library control. They don't have kind of lobby control. There's nothing that they can kind of do to achieve this plant. They get a really nice kill onto Ask here. And then the plant is, it's going down. It's going nicely. I don't value the plant position when you've not got library control because you can be swung. Eclipse unfortunately misses about 30-40 bullets, and Pyla's got a 2K. And this is one of those moments where it's so late in the day and you don't have sufficient map control, where I'd like to see DarkZero really make a decision to go for kills and kind of stray away from that identity they've had of playing for the objective, because sometimes it does hinder them.
Yeah, DarkZero went for one of those like really direct takes there, and sometimes those have been good, but also sometimes they come back to bite you, and against Liquid especially, they can really turn that on your head.
True enough. Now in round 6, we kind of saw the opposite a little bit, right, Jesse? I mean, we saw DarkZero really being the team that looks like a team that we could see in the grand finals.
So it wasn't flaws from DarkZero's attack, but most of the time they looked more like this. What I want to focus on is actually Team Liquid. Look at this, minute left in the clock, right? And Team Liquid are like half committed to this top floor roam and half falling off. There's 3 players around the solar stairs. Team Liquid, this is not a good position for them to be in. They lose 2 of those players up on the top floor, and then the third one tries to retreat down the stairs, but also gets caught. So Team Liquid, either, they need to be choosing to either stay to the top floor and really play some roam-heavy operators, get aggressive, go for swings, and win that early man advantage fight, or they need to waste a minute and a half, fall off, and play something like C4s. Instead, they kind of mixed both those strategies, and they didn't find a favorable result at all because they got caught on those stairs and just completely cleaned up.
And that round was absolutely huge for DarkZero because it was the difference between a 4-2 attacking split and a 3-3 attacking split. Because if you get the 3-3 attacking split, as a defender, you're then trying to chase the game. Whereas in 4-2, you feel so much more in control.
True enough. All right, well, we got one more map to go. But before we get there, hey, Fresh, you want to change your prediction? What do you think? Still thinking DarkZero? Feel like it could go either way?
I still feel like DarkZero will win this.
All right, Jesse.
We're going to Oregon. Team Liquid are on a 4-game win streak, undefeated since SI. I have this as statistically Liquid's best map. 2 of those wins coming against Fury and Cyclops in the groups this event. I think I want to switch, Doa.
Really?
I don't feel confident. I just can't.
Goodness.
Team Liquid looks so good on this map.
I mean, you can't officially switch, but it's interesting to know that you would do it.
I'm worried.
Wow, I think we all should be worried a little bit, especially with how map number 1 went. But you know what? if anything, this weekend has shown us, this week has shown us, is that any of these teams are capable of taking it. DarkZero versus Team Liquid should be a pretty awesome map to finish off the series. We're going to get there in just a few. Do not go anywhere. We're going to find who our first team in the grand finals here at Charlotte is going to be in just a few.
Guess that line, Siege Edition.
Let's keep them on their toes.
Malusi?
Beefed up the floor here.
Don't know.
Castle. That's my guy.
And here they are.
Cav. The content creator knows Cav, obviously.
Wall's done.
Jaeger?
No.
It's an up I play.
I know, I've heard this.
I'm not risking it.
Stop! Friendly here!
Malusi? Ash.
Grenade!
Oh, Finka. No?
Is it IQ?
Bang!
I think that might be
Habana. Sick.
What?
Mira. Frost?
Oh, God.
Oh, that sounded a little French.
I'll say Echo.
Game's hard.
Barricade deployed!
Hit it. Doc.
Fast, wow.
I never heard the French in there.
Closer than I've ever been. Trying ways to let you in. But I'm scared to fall in love again. Scared to fall in love again. Closer than I've ever been. Trying ways to let you in. But I'm scared to fall in love again. Scared to fall in love again. Closer than I've ever been. Trying ways to let you in. But I'm scared to fall in love again. Scared to fall in love again.
Tell me if it's funny. Disappear, honey. When will you come me or call me? 'Cause I have for you a great surprise. Oh, you have something in your eyes of power. And I can't deny I love it. There are no limits for us, so we can't understand now. And don't think about it. Make it feel so high. Make it feel so so, so high. Make it feel so, so high. Make it feel so high. You never know why.
Feel so, so high. Make it feel so high. You never know why. Feel so, so high. Make it feel so high. You never know why. Once again.
It all comes down to this, Liquid versus DarkZero on map 3, Oregon, Tim. We have had a 7-1 slapping on Theme Park. We've had a 7-2 demolition on Chalet, and now we get some real magic on Oregon.
Now what it's all about is going the distance. We want this one close. We want it down to the wire. We want both teams just fighting for every single inch that they can get here. I'm just wondering, Des, we've got a lot of DarkZero fans. I wonder if everybody's ready for a map 3. I love that. It's never going to get old, isn't that?
What, turning around, everyone going,
woo! Yeah, being able to say things and people cheer. It's amazing.
It's one of those. It is a rare experience. It's been so long as well.
It has indeed.
We always talk about our story, you know, SI 2020, first big event we did. We did the group stage, not the playoffs, didn't have a crowd, and then all shut down.
No crowds.
God damn, we were so unlucky. Well, here we are now, and this is what it comes down to. We love ourselves on map 3. And again, I get that throwback to Yevla, Tim, and the magic that we experienced between Dan Wonkier and FaZe back then. I want it here again. Let's hear you guys. Map 3's coming up. Here we go, Tim, into the bands to start things off, and I wonder, is it a Pamba party or a Palu party?
We're about to find out, Des. Those bands are coming in thick and fast. Thatcher is going to be the first, followed by a Nomad band from DarkZero. Right. So, a nod towards maybe a little bit of aggression, maybe a bit of flanking. We might have the odd jump out, who knows?
What you see from some teams when they ban away a Nomad is they just bring like 4 Claymores, because obviously we had the change come through recently. Any operator that has Claymores now has 2 in back pocket, not just the 1. So it actually turns out to be a relatively viable alternative to something like a Nomad. A lot of teams do still run the Nomad. It just gives you extra options and security if you want it. Warden being banned away, Tim. Oh, you know exactly what that means we're going to see. We're going to see some Ying rolling through down to the basement in this game.
I would certainly expect so. We'll almost certainly have the smokes coming along as well. We're going to have a lot of attempts just to prevent those defenders being able to see what's going on, put the screens up, and try to get in and plant behind them.
Well, it's going to have to wait first, Tim, because by the looks of it, we are starting upstairs in kids and dorms. On the attacking side, they're going to no doubt be adapting this lineup as well based on what they see. Thorn, we haven't seen all that much throughout the competition now I think about it, but the other day, we did see a Razor Bloom kill.
We did, yeah. Somebody, I can't remember who it was. It was maybe one of BDS, if I'm going from memory. I think it was maybe Renshiro. I'm sorry, Renshiro, if it wasn't. Somebody was on low health. They're on about 15 health, went in through a window and got caught by the Razor Bloom. My memory really being tested there. But yeah, the Razor Blooms are an interesting gadget. We see them obviously deployed more as area denial rather than entry denial. The fuse on them is just a little bit too long. If you've got somebody on a Finker charging in there, going for kills, looking for those entries, they are long gone by the time that Razor Bloom detonates. Instead, you're using them for information gathering, so you get them inside of a window or a door, for example. You know that somebody's come through there. You're not worried about doing the damage. Get them in a plant spot where somebody is going to be staying still, something like where a breach might happen, and you're going to have that animation of a exodermic charge being put on the wall.
This setup's really interesting from Liquid as well. We saw this the other day, actually, Tim, where the walk-in wardrobe wall is left half soft, and normally what you'll have there is a smoke player sat on that breach with a shotgun in hand, ready to swing out into master bedroom. But just to double down on the damage, it's not only there that's an angle. There you go. Thank you very much, Easy. Up as well inside a trophy, you've got the shield set down so they can also swing and challenge from there. So Liquid looking to go quite aggressive in towards the master bedroom side. But like for most teams that attack into Oregon, especially on this site, they're starting out towards showers. You have 1 man through dining, 1 through shower corridor, then you get up to that security line that Ask is currently holding.
Just getting a little bit too aggressive for his own good there, maybe. Ash just having a peek at the security security door. DarkZero know that he's playing inside a kitchen. They need to go in and clear him out. Interestingly, Ask not bringing the Nitro along. He's got 2 impact nades. Usually you'd see the player in security, quite often a mute, is going to have the Nitro in hand, and they're looking for the vertical denial if somebody comes in through the double window and tries to get a plant down, because they're playing directly underneath it. That's not going to be the same option. Ask can still open the ceiling above him, but might not have the direct impact on the planter that he would want to.
I love this, by the way. The top down, then you just saw like 4 players of Liquid all stood on concrete. There are 8 frag grenades in that back pocket of DarkZero. They can do a lot of damage from below if you give them the opportunity, which is, I think, why they want control of things like kitchen, start tossing nades from below, forcing players to move around. So far, Liquid being quite elusive, though, like ghosts around the map, and then in comes NJR, finds one. He's a ghostbuster, down goes Ask.
Great opener from DarkZero there, and we just saw this picture building up of the drones coming in, Ask being pushed around, forced back. They knew exactly where he was, and they used the information fantastically well. DarkZero need to continue that level of drone game, that level of information. They've got 6 drones left, and just about a minute of the round, so plenty to go at for them. Resets, he's trying to hold on. This could be that vertical nade we were talking about. Hyper, he can't quite connect, and he's going to instead shift his attention to the white stairs.
5 more to go at this point. Tim, they can do a lot of work with those nades, and there's still time with which to work. Canadian pushing his way in through Attic here. I think there's still someone looking to challenge. She goes stuff towards the right-hand side. It's Resets stepping out as well, narrowly missing each other, at least for now. And with that bullet shot coming out, Canadian's going to know that Resets is sat here and ready to challenge. You may well see a nade come flying down at a moment's notice, likely out of Canadian's back pocket. There comes one as Ness gets down as well. So here we go, the damage coming in from DarkZero. They pull the trigger, they pull the bump, and up they go. Resets finds Canadian. Hyper into a second as he pushes through top white. Barley goes down inside the site. Hyper hits the deck. Resets falling down to Pamba as he comes into the attic. BSK left alive inside the kids all by himself. Pamba, NJR coming in for the trade. They find the kill. Round 1 goes to DarkZero.
What a bloodbath we just witnessed at the end of round 1. There were kills flying in both directions. DarkZero able to come out on top, though, with a good attack. Used the verticals well, took the control that they needed with that early kill onto Ask. I like what I saw out of them in that round, and they just need to keep that momentum going now into round 2.
Look at the difference there as well. I mean, look back at Theme Park for Liquid's defense here, right? Back on Theme Park, they were very aggressive around the map. Set up around Cafe, players out towards Dragon and Cash, really trying to keep DarkZero tested in the early round. But the only player you saw playing off site there, really, was Ask. He was alone inside the meeting and got picked up for free by NJR, was getting pinched in by 2 players of DarkZero. So no real resistance being shown by Liquid, which to me was the difference maker, and DarkZero, as they should, happily capitalized on it.
It's worth remembering at this point as well, Liquid, of course, the last team in this competition not from the North American region. If Liquid cannot come through here on Oregon, it will guarantee us an NA champion in Charlotte.
Crazy, isn't it, already, before we've even seen the second semi-final? The era of NA dominance has arrived, ladies and gentlemen.
Certainly seems that way through this tournament and through TSM's win at SI as well, obviously. Becoming a very competitive league, very kind of suddenly, really.
It's interesting how like we had that 12 months of like LATAM win everything. Now kind of NA's caught up, and
They want their 12 months.
Sadly for us, EU's still got a bit of work to do,
just
Tim.
being left out in the cold right now, Des, left out in the cold.
Just a couple of years, then maybe.
Hyper's going to use the Gun 6 to get this barricade open quickly, likely follow it in as well. Just changing his mind, flipping back and forward, we'll see. I think he's going to get on the drones instead. Maybe just a lack of information, lack of confidence in going in there. Could be right, because as soon as they hear that barricade go, Ask may well have chosen to push down into green there. But the drone will escape, and they will know that somebody's playing on rear stage.
Indeed, again, it's a little slow start for DZ. Not that too worried about this. They want to make sure they're doing things by the book here. You haven't massively got to rush. As long as you're getting these hatches opened up and starting to think about the site by about that 1 minute mark, you're not going to be in a bad position. Ask pretty low. Hyper now starting to step his way up the shower corridor once again. Again, the security line gets drawn here between the top of Freezer and security itself. Hyper already got himself inside here to the bottom of white, as all of Liquid have said, yep, no thanks, Chief, we're out, back on site.
That's it, they've all been completely forced back, and now what they're going to do is get themselves set up for this last 1 minute 40. So it's all about taking positions, lines of sight, where's everybody looking. Liquid have got a little bit of breathing space. They've got about 20-30 seconds inside before anything's going to start happening from DarkZero. So that time will be used to have those conversations. Who's holding what? Where are we going? Are we ready for this? Because all they can do now is sit and wait for DarkZero to make their final move.
Well, it's Liquid's done a really good job of bringing down the drones. Only 3 left on side for DarkZero here. So yes, it looks like that roam was kind of AWOL. You were out of sight in 75 seconds and nothing happened. Sure, you've killed the majority of the information gathering coming in from the attackers. So DarkZero here will have a little bit of droning coming in. You had Pamba hot droning hyper through the map, but outside of that, they are flying mostly blind here, Tim.
Exactly, it's quite Eclipse going into Garage there, still unsure as to whether anybody is playing. They're having to be careful about every inch that they take of this map, and they're getting in towards the final minute now. NJR finally going to open up that bunker barricade. He's got support as well. There's pressure on rear stage. PSK fully flashed out, but there is no push that is coming along with it. But there it goes. Hyper manages to get the opener, but Parlu and Nest step up. Pamba with a trade onto Nest. 3v3 now. 35 seconds left to go. And DarkZero continue the push. NJR, the sharp end of this attack. Kill onto Pamba as well, and that's going to be Ask. He manages to step up, gets the shotgun kill. 1v2 now. Can he hold on? 25 seconds left to go. He needs to try and play with the clock here, Des. He needs to try and keep this going for as long as possible. That could be pivotal. He gets the kill onto Pamba. 1v1. No! Ask with a 3K to finish off round 2. Successful defensive laundry.
What a crazy round overall, Tim, as well. It felt like nothing really happened for 2 minutes, and then it all exploded towards the end. Really interestingly, for DarkZero, 3 players said, you know what, there's a smoke there. I'm going straight through it. I ain't waiting. They just charged their way in. That's when they got the kind of surprise kills coming in around Pillar, but just couldn't quite catch the last man in that little initial blitz they had in towards Sai. Ask, big clutch coming out in the 1 versus 3.
The tension is really starting to rise now, because you just get a feeling that this one could bounce back and forward like this, round to round to round, until we see the climax towards the end of those 12 rounds. They're just going to be setting up on the top floor once again. It's going to be a Dorms hold for Team Liquid. We're going to have a quick rehearse. We'll have a quick rehearse. We'll get back in, but Liquid just choosing to get themselves back up to Dorms rather than choosing that third choice side. We've got the chants going. The DarkZero fans are in fine form today.
Or the US fans at this point.
Anybody, it's just anybody US at this point, anybody NA.
Yeah, absolutely, all banding together. Of course they want to have an all NA final as well to guarantee that NA winner. Why wouldn't you? For one of those, how that round played out again, it came down to really Ask in the 1 versus 3. That's not the sort of thing you're going to see happening every single round. We saw Pamba with a really good push in towards Pillar, and what I'm enjoying so far about this game, it's not just down to a Pamba party. You're also seeing NJR getting involved as well. Equally, Ask with the big clutch. It's not just about 1 player per map. You know, Parlu dropping 16 back on Theme Park. Pamba, 16 on Chalet. Already, you're getting more players involved in the scrap.
That's it, and I think, to be honest, DarkZero don't mind that last round too much. Yeah, of course, they, you know, by choice would have taken the win on it, but ultimately, what can you do when Ask is just going to claim it out like that? 3 kills at the end, 1v2, shuts it down. There's just not really too much that you can do in response to that. It's one of those rounds that you just got to write off. You got to say, you know what, bit of a hero play from Ask. We go again, we get back into it. And the fact that they're going back to the site that they've already won in round 1, and they've won it pretty convincingly, really, I think that's going to be a good thing for DarkZero. It's just going to settle things down after that loss.
Yeah, again, I'll give it to Liquid. Their clearance of drones in the early round was really, really good, I thought, overall. For DarkZero, they were attacking blind towards the end of that round and did really well with the information that they had. So no big complaints on that side. We'll move back into game in just a second, by the way, so don't worry too much. Players are all back in the service of things, should be underway in no time at all. I'm just thinking, Tim, we keep on speaking about this possibility of overtime. If it really does go all the way to the distance, whose voice gives out first, mine or yours? Mine's already a bit croaky after this week.
Mine was pretty close after the old phase game in Sweden.
You can hear it, mate.
That was about the closest it's ever got, but it usually stands up all right. It should be all right.
We can manage one.
It depends how loud everybody here is. If I've got to shout louder to be heard because everybody here gets really loud, which I'm guessing will be the case if we get overtime, then who knows? Maybe it won't be too happy.
It's like numbers versus speakers, basically. What's louder? We'll find out if it gets towards that tail end of the game. I think you saw it as well. The little replay we had at the end. Canadian is getting a little bit more loud. You saw him at the end being like, yeah, let's go. You know, all the stuff you want to see.
I think that's it. It's natural at this point.
Oh, yeah.
You know, regardless of what the mentality is within the team, Robert, you know, you've spoken about it, even if you want that sort of even keel, you want that nice middle ground of not too high, not too low. there's a point where emotion is just going to take over. And in this sort of game, you're in map 3, you're looking for the grand final. It's going to be that sort of game where that emotion starts to take over. And regardless of thinking, no, we need to keep it on a level, it's just going to go out of the window.
It's one of those where you can, it's the whole, like, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. In this case, it's the hype and excitement of the competition, the stage that you're at, the possibility of winning a major. Because for DarkZero, let's not forget, they've been building towards this for a good 9 months. You know, they made the changes come in. They didn't have the best performances all the way up until this point, but they have, as Canadian said in an interview with Ian yesterday, been building up towards better and better performances and finishes. This will be the real cherry on the cake if they can win the major.
Bit of good news, we will just wait until everything's running smoothly, but the lobby is complete, the game is starting up, and we will get in back on our way very, very shortly between these two. It is going to be round 3. We are 1 map apiece at this point. We've had a theme park win for Team Liquid. We've had a Chalet win for DarkZero, both reasonably convincing in their score lines, but now on Oregon, it just feels like this is going to be a much closer affair. This is going to decide who goes to the grand final, and we are 1-1 at this point.
Very convincing in individual play, though, is my thing.
Yes,
about those two maps.
absolutely, yeah.
I kind of feel like we haven't yet seen either team really take charge in terms of, like, team play. It has come down to, oh, you met Palu and he killed 3 of you. Unlucky, I guess, right? It's one of those, so give it a bit of time and we'll see exactly how the team play really starts to develop.
We're going to be going back in now, I believe. We are starting in round 3. It's going to be a Dome's defense, so we're going to be up on the top floor. This is the side that DarkZero were able to win on the attack to begin with. They dealt with Ask underneath very, very easily. I think they'll be looking to do the same again, and Ask might not even play under there.
No, may well not. He is on the Echo in this round. We've got resets on the Valkyrie. This is the prime time for DarkZero to go, oh, look what they've got. We need an IQ. If they see those 2 operators, they'll know exactly what to change to. If they don't, it's at their own peril. We haven't yet seen a team see this pairing of operators and not bring the IQ. And there it is, Pamba moving away from playing on the Iana. That kind of step away from the RX Sun. Get on the IQ, because we're going to need it.
Absolutely. We're going to have the action phase kicking off then. DarkZero getting themselves quickly towards the building line. I think they're going to be confident. Last time they dealt with the road very easily, but I'm looking at those silhouettes of Team Liquid, and there is somebody off in the basement in the distance, and that's going to be DarkZero needing to make sure they're droning that out fully and finding that player, because otherwise they could get hit badly on the flank. It's going to be Resets playing underneath. He's got the Valkyrie cams to support as well, and he's just going to be trying to make a nuisance of himself.
Yeah, Palu as well. 2 of them is looking to come up on the flank as and when required, which means on site it's a little bit light. You've got PSK and Ask currently sat inside of there. DZ can't exactly rush in towards site at this point with the lineup that they've got as well. By the looks of it, want to get master bedroom control, want to get attic control, and try and step forward from there. So a very conventional attack of this site coming right up.
Hyper just getting himself straight inside of master bedroom, and as you said, DarkZero at this point largely just ignoring those roamers away from site, happy to just start working on the direct push, although we might start to see that change. They need to be careful here. If they're going to be going into attic, rear stage is one of the places that could be very troublesome for them. They've cleared out any utility that was preventing them get through, more than likely a mute jammer, and they're going to have the Selma charges detonating now. So the site is going to start coming under pressure pretty soon, and that's going to be the signal for these roamers to potentially do something.
Gives them the angle straight through towards site. 3 players bursting in behind PSK here as well. Master is losing control. So in comes DarkZero, slowly stepping their way forwards one at a time, and out comes the C4. Down goes Hybrid. It's that Finker. So again, you lose all those nanos. You lose the nades if they had any left on side. They didn't. They'd already used them all, so not the end of the world, but you still lose a big gun from the team.
Pamba, he's just going to be on the drones. He's going to report a player inside a pit, but it's pretty much commonplace that there's going to be somebody playing in this location until you remove the shield. Pamba, Eclipse, get in explosively. They've got control of sight here. Desney looking to push forward, but Nez with a nitro manages to find one and keeps on coming. Palu, Ask, Nez, and Team Liquid fight from behind to get themselves the round. And now that's going to be 2-1 Team Liquid.
3 kills coming in from below as well. We had the 2 C4s, and the last kill that came onto NJR inside of Attic was, I think, from Palu, who was down in meeting and just shot him through the hatch as he ran over. Unfortunate for DarkZero, it was very much a default cookie-cutter style attack, but Team Liquid were more than prepared for it.
They just let them play in. I often liken that defense up on the top floor there to sort of like an onion. There's just a number of layers, and you've got the core there in kids' dorms and back at the
Cannot
double
hear
bunks.
a reference to onions without thinking
That's
about
what it's
Shrek.
like. You've got layers.
Onions have layers.
You've got layers. You've got to go through each layer, and the core was just super strong there. As they got into that position, they just couldn't force the man out of kids' dorms, and it was just very, very difficult for DarkZero. Team Liquid winning the gunfights, winning the round, and going 2-1 up here on the defense of Oregon, but it is going to lead them into their third choice site there, and where we've seen a bit of popularity towards meeting recently, they're going to be taking dining.
Yeah, it's been really interesting how everyone seems to know that attacks onto meeting will come with an Ossa, yet teams still choose to go there and go, you know, we can deal with the Ossa. Teams are messy with it, it's not the best, we can definitely deal with that. But here on the dining side, I fully expect DarkZero will do what they've done for the majority of their attacks, except for that last round, which is to start out towards the small tower side of the map to the west. They'll push through, try and fight their way up into War Showers itself, where PSK is currently holding firm. You'll also have someone coming in through the front door, which is currently what Hyper's looking to do, so keep an eye out for that, because this should be how things start to structure, unless DZ have a different plan in mind.
DZ could do with a nice entry here just to help them get control of that top floor, get in there, get the numbers advantage and start to wear Liquid down. Paolo playing in the attic for the time being. He's got that open so that he can challenge on into meeting should DarkZero try to push in from that side. Of course, two sides as an option for attack here. You can go in through meeting, get the wall open into kitchen, get the diffuser down just inside, or potentially use the single door into kitchen if needs be. Alternatively, you get control of small tower and you work in from the dining side, and that's where this area becomes particularly important for the defenders. Holding on to kids' dorms, Nesk is in there, they'll have the hatch open, and it gives a tight angle through onto that plant spot. But DarkZero making good progress here. NJR's got himself established inside of attic, and he can start drawing him forward now, find exactly what's going on ahead of him, and look to push pressure onto these Team Liquid defenders.
Absolutely, depends about that vertical, because with NJR having that control, sure, he's forced Palu away, but there's no reason why you wouldn't see someone potentially from Liquid try and re-challenge back into that spot. Someone like Nesk, who's currently still holding inside of kids. Here we go with the wall now being opened up. The control is established, and DarkZero already starting to looking towards what could be a kitchen execute.
Interesting here, because DarkZero might not need to take too much of top floor if they're going to go onto kitchen. Eclipse finding the opener onto Palu. Hyper, he's just going to hold those players back into kids' dorms, but the floor is soft there, and a challenge can be made onto the plant spot, but he's going to go in probably as that is likely to happen and try to make the challenge. Nesk is getting aggressive here, just doesn't quite get the visual that he needs, and shut down by Hyper, and that's going to be DarkZero with a big advantage now. 5 versus 3, they've got top floor control, they've got the kitchen wall open. There is an opportunity for Eclipse to get in here and get that diffuser down.
I was going to say, Tim, right call here. 3 players, four straight onto drones. You've got 60 seconds left, you've killed 2. 5 versus 3, use that time to take the advantage. Ask finding one as NJR comes in from above. They were just prepared and ready. Looking to go into the plant here. Panther finding another one, a 4 versus 2. It looks like DarkZero should be able to do this one. Eclipse dodging the smoke and going to be able to get this plant down. Back out into meeting they go. And Liquid, PSK and Ask are going to pull off an absolute miracle here, Tim.
It's going to take a lot of work at this point. Ask is low health as well, doing everything he can. He's battling from behind those tables, but just can't find anything at the minute. 4v2, and DarkZero have got the vertical. I really don't see any way for Team Liquid to get themselves back into this round. It's almost certainly going to level up for the North Americans. Hyper finds Ask, and it's all up to PSK. How many times have we said that? 1v4. He doesn't know the man is there. Eclipse, not only does he get the plant, he gets the final kill, and that's going to be DarkZero leveling things up 2-2 now.
Just keep on holding on to him, keep on battling back on this attacking side. 2-2 things stand. Kind of surprised we haven't seen a Ying or anything along those lines coming in yet again with that Warden ban coming out. You know, the reason why we're seeing a rise in Warden picks is because of that fear of, oh, they're going to drone us out, they're not going to see a Warden on side. Ying's a great idea, let's bring it along, but it simply hasn't happened. Down we go then, into the basement for round number 5.
The way that I look at a ban like that is DarkZero have banned Warden away. So what if they... Oh no, Team Liquid, sorry, have taken the ban. It's up at the top. I thought it was DarkZero that was taking the ban onto Warden. But, oh sorry, it was. I'm being corrected at this. Because of Rios, we've got them reversed. So yes, DarkZero take the ban onto Warden. What have they done on their attacks so far that they couldn't have done with a Warden on the board? Yep. And the answer at the minute is nothing. Yep. There's nothing really that they've done that a Warden would have been any use against. So at that point I'm thinking, could you got more value out of that ban? Even if it's Wamai or, you know, whatever it might be, could you have found a little bit more value?
Always that question. For now, at least, They are getting by plenty fine. Looks like a pretty dug-in setup so far coming out from Liquid. Not super aggressive out on the roam as we've seen previously, but there's still time for resets and Nest potentially to work their way through the map, or could just real hunker things down. Very common to see that setup coming around security and the top of Freezer Stairs itself. Again, to slow down the onslaught that comes in from the shower side of things, where DarkZero have started most of their attacks so far. And here they are now, Tim.
The drones racing in from that west side, and we know that Hyper on the Thinker is not going to be too far behind. He's going to be trying to push through, get established at the bottom of the white stairs. There he goes. He's got a little bit of support from Eclipse going in through Dining as well, and they are just going to want to take this west side to begin with, make sure that the entire map is clear and theirs, and then they will move on to the downstairs and starting to choose exactly where they push in from. The only presence on that mid floor at the minute is the player in rear stage stairs. They've aggressed up a little bit, but as I say that, PSK drops himself back down to site. So that's going to be all of Team Liquid on site, and DarkZero, in recognising that, need to move themselves forward quickly, take that ground, and then start working to soften site.
It's good with the drone work for sure, because they're making sure it's safe for one to step forward so you're not going to get blindsided from some random corner on your way down. They've got one looking down on towards the laundry stairs as well, so they have an idea of what's coming in. Rotero's raining in from Big Tower. PSK almost able to get a shot away there, but it will lock up, it will get deployed in there. Not that it's really going to achieve much for them. Oh, and again, Liquid have denied away the hard breach. They did this a couple of times back on Chalet in denying away the exothermic onto the snowmobile door. Same thing here, but this time on a hatch.
They've got the Maverick available, so it's not going to be the end of the world. Rather than try and battle around that electrical, they'll just use the blowtorch instead and get that hatch open, and then the Hibana will be able to work forward, open the reinforcement through. It'll force PSK out of Charco onto pillars, and really, if they push somebody onto rear stage stairs at the same time, they might just be able to pick up the kill there, and that'll be the catalyst for DarkZero to move forward. At the same time, they're trying to get themselves established inside a bunker, but obviously, elbow is still a thing, and they're going to have to deal with that as well.
Obviously got the smokes to worry about too, so although the 60 seconds on the clock, that can disappear very quickly when you're dancing around a couple of C4 smokes and potentially Goyo canisters as well.
PSK just being moved around there. We see him dipping out, and that was the kill that I expected. Canadian coming into rear stage stairs, well played by DarkZero. They've got themselves that foundation that they need to start pushing in towards site and get Eclipse. The Rumi needs to put the plan down. Brilliant nade by MJR, and he follows it up with a kill onto Palu. DarkZero 4v2 as Resets manages to find one back, but Eclipse, he's going to be able to get this diffuser down. I don't think that's going to stop him. Nest tries, but no, he is successful. Plant, and that is going to be Nest trying to fight back from Freezer. 1v4.
He's got a lot to do here as well. He steps out of Freezer. Good chance he's going to die. Yep, Hyper's got it from Pillar. It's a shutdown for DarkZero once again, pulling themselves ahead.
Canadian with a great opening kill there onto PSK. It was exactly what DarkZero needed. As I said, it was the spark in the powder keg there to be able to just get them moving forward was right. We know Pillars is clear now, and they were just so aggressive moving in behind it there. Great confidence from DarkZero.
Great to have those 3 rounds on the attack as well. Exactly what you wanted from the start on Oregon for the North American side, Tim. Even without bringing along things like the Ying that you referenced would be really strong for them. The 8 nade play back in round 1, not doing tons for them. You may well yet see it come out here again on this site. The current lineup they've got, Tim, does lean in towards those 8 frag grenades that did quite a lot of work for them on their attack here before.
Team Liquid now able to go back to dorms after a couple of rounds away. They won it back in round 3, so obviously feeling confident that they can do the same again, but DarkZero have already got a win on this site, so it's 50-50 at best for Team Liquid. DarkZero were more effective in the first round, that much is for sure. They're going to be looking to, I think, get aggressive again, get inside a site, get themselves established. Once they did that in round 3, they just didn't win the gunfights was the problem. I think it was Ask was playing in kids' dorms behind the bunks, and he was just able to dance around, get a couple of kills. Nest was never really pinned down, and so DarkZero, I think, were just a little bit premature on that final push.
Ever so slightly. Yeah, a couple of changes coming in here to DZ's lineup as well. You've got Canadian coming across onto the Nook from the Maverick, and Pamba once again dropping away from the Iana and bringing the IQ, because we've got that Echo and the Valkyrie on side with those pesky cameras and the Yokai drone. So, should make life a little easier for DarkZero. Let's not forget they were getting C4'd away an awful lot last time around, and that's what they're looking to prevent here.
Research just cycling through those cameras, trying to get any information as to where this push is going to be coming from. But DarkZero moving pretty quickly here, getting themselves through showers. The sledge of NJR just going to open up that route and allow the push to continue forward from that side. They wanted to get underneath and use those nades. I think they've got a little bit of utility there on the side of Pamba that's going to be giving them the information as to the utility ahead of them.
Robot wars.
And potentially the drones, but Canadian taking the choice not to take down the Yokai drone, just keeping himself off the radar on the knock.
Understandably, when you've seen Parlo, and I think it was Resets before on the roam down here, why wouldn't you go hunting? I think Resets has an idea that is coming, mind you. They had the ping coming in, so they know there's a drone on those stairs that's worked in their favor. Canadian still snaking his way through Freezer here. Stone Cold Killer, but can he catch Resets before he becomes too aware?
I absolutely love this play from Canadian. He's got himself deep into enemy territory. He just needs to be careful. He's checking the camera to make sure it's not being watched. I don't think Resets has any idea. Surely it's going to be a freebie for Canadian. And he gets the opener. What an absolutely beautiful play from the knock there. Canadian leading by example. Nesk taking a little bit of damage from the nade. And that is DarkZero 5v4.
I love those kind of plays where you just see the build-up for a good 30 seconds before as well. Wonderfully delivered by Canadian and showing that patience sometimes is the play. They've got one down in the form of Resets. Parlo and Ness taking a little bit of chip damage on the way through as well. But so far, looking good for DarkZero as we head into that last 60 seconds.
Hyper going to look to get aggressive onto White Stairs, but needs to be very conscious of Nesk just on his left-hand side, inside of security there. Definitely something that needs to be dealt with. The nade goes in. That's just going to prevent the man moving out. He's going to take a little bit more damage, but still not dealt with now, and it could be an issue. He goes in. Knock this time. Canadian gets put down by Parlu. Nesk manages to get the kill onto Hyper. He was never dealt with inside of security. The kills keep coming. NJR, PSK, they're trading back and forth. Pamba manages to find Parlu. That's 2v2 now, but we have a man down. NJR is finished off. PSK with a double at the end, and that's going to be a 3-3 half.
DZ knocked down a peg there, Tim, as well. Just figured it out. They weren't going to get stung in twice in the same round by the Nook and have an immediate answer. But I love it again. The play coming in through all of basement. It took a good 30 to 45 seconds. What?
It's no good using the knock jokes. We can hear the groans now.
That's part of the fun, though, right? Makes it twice as fun. Normally, you get no reaction. You have to wait until later on to go back and see what chat said, or a tweet comes through going, boys,
come on.
This is not funny anymore.
Knock it off.
Attackers need to locate.
Terrible. Utterly terrible. Down to basement we go, and Liquid have read straight into that Warden ban. He said, you know what, guys? A Warden ban is a wonderful idea to bring the Ying along. Why not? That's going to get rolled out here in the first round on the attack of the basement. So DarkZero, that 3-3 split, Tim. We've had 3-3 so much this week, and every time we've seen it, I'm pretty sure we've essentially seen us going through to overtime in the majority of situations.
I'm just a little bit concerned for DarkZero. As we said, they banned out the Warden. They haven't done anything to really play into that. And now immediately on Team Liquid's first attack, right, we're bringing Ying.
10 seconds left.
There's no Warden, we're bringing Ying. And they're going to have to play against it. So I just really hope that DarkZero have got a plan. They've got something in mind for how exactly they're going to deal with this.
Maybe it's a bait.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
Maybe they know something that we don't. Time will tell in the next couple of minutes or so. Let's see what happens though, because DarkZero is starting out with a couple of players out on the roam. I think we've got NGR and Hyper currently holding off around Kitchen, whereas Liquid have gone basically direct to site. 101, Parlu trying to push his way down towards Elbow, now rotating off. Always talk about that phantom pressure, Tim. You see a door or a window shot out. You don't know if someone's on the other side of it unless you've got a cam on the outside, which doesn't really help anymore. Cams no longer lasting long on the outside, especially Valkyrie cams, and of course Yokais at the same time. Mozzie drones also included in that conversation. So it just keeps you guessing of, okay then, when is someone going to come running through? Not a matter of, you know, if, it is definitely going to be a when.
Ness just getting himself inside, down in there, take out the mute jammers, and that's just going to allow a little bit more progress for those drones to go in ahead of him. He immediately gets himself back onto his own. He's going to send it in through Kitchen. Hyper just holding an angle from the top of Freezer stairs there, looking to get aggressive on towards that double door, but cannot find any shots, cannot find his man. Resets is free to get himself onto the drones, and that pretty much forces DarkZero back to site now. So they're going to be holding on for almost 2 minutes of this round. There's still Canadian at the top of the main stairs, so there's an opportunity for him to potentially potentially get out and make a nuisance of himself, but I don't think he's going to stick it too hard, to be honest. He's just waiting for a little opportunity. If one comes his way, great. If not, he'll drop back down to Laundry.
This is why we're seeing more aggression in the game at the moment, I think, as well. As we spoke about it a lot already, the attacker repick coming in just means that the attackers can bring along the most optimal lineup to attack in towards the site. If you as the defenders let them get in position to pull off a full-on execute, you know they've got the best tools for the job. Maybe Parley bringing along the breaching charges here isn't really the play. Claymores might have been more useful given the Nomad ban that has come out. But outside of that, Liquid have got all the tools at their disposal. They've got most of their nades on site. They've got all Candelas. They get these hatches opened up for free as well with the Maverick and the Hibana. Everything is going their way so far, and DarkZero haven't really disrupted them outside of killing a good number of drones.
No, and what we're likely to see from Liquid, and it looks like what they're shaping up for, is they like to attack this from multiple angles. They're not the team that will just go from rear stage and bunker. They want to get somebody down into Freezer. They want to get somebody down into Laundry, and they want to make it really difficult. As you can see ahead of you, you've got Ask and Ness going to Laundry. You've got Parlu going to Freezer. You've got PSK working at rear stage. They're going to just try and encircle the defenders, and the problem for DarkZero is they end up spinning around on the spot because they don't know where the pressure's going to come from. Out goes the first Candela. That's going to bake quite a lot of utility out of DarkZero there, but at the same time, Ness hits them from the rear. Canadian manages to get the trade. NJR with one. Ask and Parlu managing to get two apiece. 3v2, it's 2v2. The plant is going down right now. It's going to be Ask. Can he hold on to this?
Freezer has got the crossbow from Freezer. He perfectly nails down both. Finds the elbow clear and then gets the one coming in from E-Box. A very good attack from Liquid and Tim, showing why that three-pronged attack could be so effective.
It's just so dangerous. It's very difficult to defend against, and it's something that Liquid do so well. We saw Nesk able to get the big opener there, coming in from that rear side, and it's just not expected. As soon as you hear those Candelas, you saw it. There was the Toxic Babe canister. There was the Nitro over the top. They were doing everything they could to deny a plant that wasn't actually happening. It was just the presumption based on PSK dumping the Candela in, and it just really did take DarkZero's focus, and fortunately, Team Liquid took full advantage of that.
Well, they're going for the same thing once again here. DarkZero thinking, you know what, we can course correct on the downstairs. And again, I'd like to see more of them out and about around the map here, looking to disrupt Liquid earlier on. They did get rid of drones, but weren't looking ready to take any fights or consume too much utility on the way through. Now you know what Liquid are going to do. They've once again got the Ying. All the things look exactly the same. You need to be more prepared as DarkZero. Do not let them get that three-prong setup coming in.
Absolutely not. We're going to have a quick technical pause. We just need to take a quick rehearsal. We'll get everybody back in ASAP. Liquid leading 4-3 at this point, but nobody so far on Oregon has been able to get more than a one-round lead, and DarkZero have had their time ahead as well, but right now it's the Brazilians that are leading things, and they are looking like they could be heading towards that grand final unless DarkZero can find a little bit of momentum on the defense here. Not an easy start for them down in Laundry.
Not an easy ask either, really. You know, you're against a team that can be really ferocious. You saw how clinical they were in clearing the map out there as well, being cautious behind drones. Both teams have done a pretty good job of that, to be fair, is playing behind information and not just blindly walking into a room and hoping, I hope there's no one in that corner that will shoot me on my way through, as we've seen from a few teams here at the competition. Things are looking pretty good. Should be back into game any moment now, guys.
Well, this is it's just posturing up for an unbelievable finish. I'm hoping that Liquid, I want to see a real game out of this. You know, I don't mind which team goes through, but I'd love to see it go.
Can't say that in this room,
Can't say that. At the end of the day, we just want the most competitive teams in the final, but I really want to see it go to 12. I'd want to see every single round or even overtime, as much as we can get out of this one. I was just a little bit concerned with that last round that DarkZero would just a little bit off the pace there, and maybe Team Liquid can get themselves a couple in a row unless DarkZero can put the brakes on.
Well, hopefully they figure out the answer here as well. We've had that rehost, a quick chance to chat and figure things out too. They know that in that last round, they just gave too much breathing room to the side of Liquid. Now they've got to be adaptive, they've got to get out there, get aggressive, slow them down, ideally kill the Ying early on, because that's the prime operator that you want to be getting rid of. Back down we go then into Laundry and Supply Team. If they manage to equalize here, we could just be having ourselves going 1 for 1 for 1 the whole way through this second half, which would lead us towards that 6-6 scoreline.
I've absolutely no problem with that. I think, like you say, the big difference here is don't give Liquid as much time, and also don't get baited in, you know that they're going to attack you from multiple sides. You know it's not all going to come down to a Candela push down rear stage. So don't get pulled into that and just take that opportunity. Yes, you've heard the Candela come in, but just see what happens after it. Don't dump all your utility on a plant that isn't happening. So down to the bottom floor, we'll see if anything changes up for DarkZero. But yes, particularly, I'd like to see at least one, maybe out on the top floor, just trying to waste a bit of time for Liquid on the attack.
Definitely, yeah. Get disruptive right is ultimately the way to look at it. Is go out there, cause trouble. That's, again, what your defenders have to do now that attacker repick is such a prominent part of the game. For how things are starting up, it's looking very similar once again for DarkZero. They're getting themselves hatched reinforced off, looking to give themselves some agency to get out in the map and cause a little bit of trouble, get rid of some of those drones. But for me, it's about being on that top floor and trying to burn through some time, which Canadian currently is. They're getting some shotgun holes in the floor to assist with one, a drop back angle through the hatch, but also to try and stop anyone who comes vaulting in through the big window. So yes, DarkZero are getting out of the map and looking to cause trouble.
Perfect, that's what we want to see. It doesn't need to be more than one player, it just needs to be somebody who can burn time. It's quite a big site to look after. You've got to worry about laundry stairs, you've got to worry about freezer, you've got to worry about rear stage and bunker. So you need the manpower down there. You can't commit too much outside of sight. But one, being Canadian, out there on the Malusi, top floor, just to hold on and waste as much time as he can. If he can trickle his way back down to sight through those hatches, fantastic. He's taking drones out along the way. He's just denying that utility. Already down to 6 for Team Liquid, so that is not a terrible start for Parlu. Look how aggressively he's going in here. He knows that Canadian's up on that top floor, and Canadian knows that his cards are marked, and he's going to drop himself back down to security.
Get me out, just charging as far away as possible. In fact, everyone dropping all the way back down here as well. One more coming down. I think it's Hyper behind them to make sure they are safely back on site. So again, only about 60 seconds wasted, but Tim, once again, they've burnt through 5 drones on the side of Liquid. So they are getting rid of information. No real disruption to the execution when it's going to roll around. 5 drones tends to be enough to get the key information that you need. So Liquid going to be happy. DarkZero probably also feeling quite happy themselves at the damage they've done.
Exactly, Liquid just taking another drone in phase there to try and get Nesk inside. It's taken them longer though this time. That is the key. By having that player on the top floor, it just meant they had that bit of extra clearance to do. It wasn't a case of just 10 seconds, run the drones across, right, there's nobody up there. They now needed to push a man through. It was Parlu, he got the job done, but 1 minute 20 left to go, and they haven't opened any hatches yet. There's still work to be done here for Team Liquid.
You can get it done pretty quick, obviously, with the Hibana as well. 4 pellets per hatch, away you go. I think that's the last one now to get opened up. So all 3 have been opened. Now it's really on getting rid of the crucial bits of utility that might stop you. Things like the Banshees. We saw one then for a second on the big tower stairs. We had the one that was inside of Zulu, actually, on the ground floor, which I don't know if it's been cleared away. Yes, it has, so no issue there either. So they're getting their way through. They're getting things ready again for a similar execute. And this is what I was nervous about for DarkZero. They've got that Ying ready to go, and PSK is just looking for the invitation.
But just sort of stretching them thin, and they have to win those 1v1s when they come. It means they can't necessarily double up, but there's going to be 3 pushing in here, and that could be a well-timed Toxic Babe canister that's just going to prevent that rush coming in. We can see the nade is going to follow into elbow, but they don't know about Pamper. He gets 1, can he get 2? No shutdown, but Canadian manages to get a double. Ask, he's the one to finish Pamper off, but it could be too little too late. As DarkZero now in a 4v2, they just need to hold on for the last 20 seconds here. It's all for Liquid to do, and there is absolutely nowhere that they can push forward here, trying to work in through toxic gas, trying to challenge onto elbow. Billy Cliff with a big shotgun kill onto Ask, and that's going to be a 4v1 now, all up to Parlu from the rear stage stairs, but the time is ticking away. The sand is running through the hourglass stairs. He pushes down to Pillar, but it's unlikely that he does anything as DarkZero level things up 4-4.
No diffuser, no kills, no chance for Parlu there at the end. Canadian proving himself the hero once again with that big 2K to shut everything down. Liquid, a slightly different approach in that round as well, mainly focusing on construction. They did have PSK up on the meeting hatch, looking to get those Candelas down inside a pillar, but they never really made it through construction in the first place. That 2-man hold coming out of DarkZero, more than enough to shut Team Liquid down.
Much better from them that time around. They're going to be heading up to dorms this time for their round 9 defense, all the way up to that top floor. There's going to be a little bit less opportunity necessarily to burn time in the same way. You don't necessarily want to play with as many roamers out there. You're going to have one underneath more than likely. It's going to be somebody with Nitro in hand, possibly Canadian on that Koyo. Get himself down there, try and play inside of security and kitchen and deny any sort of vertical attempt at a plant, but still, not as much opportunity to waste time, so again, could be problematic for DarkZero.
Absolutely. If PSK sticks on this Capital, it's one of those operators that I see. There's a few like things like Castle as well. You know, this is always one blitz. It's always an exciting one because you know something's about to go down. You don't bring a blitz and then play a slow round, for example. But Capital's one of those as well because the 2 smoke bolts that he has plus the fire bolts, that's a lot of utility that you can use on site to shift defenders around or to block off certain paths and get yourself charging forwards. They've also got that Ying on side once again, so Liquid going for another round in a row. That's now 3. This really execution-heavy setup.
Canadian is getting quite aggressive, actually. I suggested that he might be playing inside of security, but Hyper is going to find himself down and he's going to be finished off with a gun 6 by Palu. That is not an ideal start to the round there. Team Liquid getting themselves an advantage 5v4.
That's it, just through that front lobby door as well, just not paying the respect that someone might charge at it and just go for a blind spray. You know they want the default cam, and if they see you on the way through, well, you are basically going to be a goner. Could have come from a drone though, not 100% sure, but all that matters is the Aruni is down and out for the round. Eclipse stepping around Zulu as well, looking to do a similar sort of challenge on towards that front door. Dips back across towards Showers and goes for the same, expecting, quite fairly so, that a team or a player will come charging in from the Showers side. No one was there at that point, so now he's able to back himself away and sit inside of Serba.
DarkZero maintaining a little bit of an aggressive stance here. They've got Eclipse still underneath in security. No rotation through to Kitchen, which is going to lock him in there, but it is also going to keep him more secure. But then Canadian getting down the armory stairs and just trying to get an aggress onto that door. As he's drawn out, he's going to dip away because he knows that the challenge would be far too easy, but he's still going to keep himself in trophy, and at the halfway mark, that is not the end of the world. DarkZero able to at least keep Team Liquid out of Master Bedroom for the time being. The only pressure mounting is that inside of Attic.
Absolutely. For now, just digging in deep, I think Canadian could do a bit of work from inside of Master, mind you, if he's not droned out. Looking at the drone count, again, 5 remaining for the side of Liquid. It's been a couple of times now we've got to the halfway mark, and DarkZero have done a good job at slowly whittling the drone count down, which just means mistakes could start creeping in for the side of Liquid. Smoke's coming out now inside of Attic. NJR holding that one down, at least for now. Liquid still with a lot of time to play with, though, Tim. I feel like for DarkZero, if you're starting to burn through those critical bits of utility already, you'll start to sweat in the last 30.
Certainly going to be a couple of key gunfights coming up in the next 30 or 40 seconds, and DarkZero need to make sure that they are on the right side of them. Pamba, he's just trying to support Canadian a little bit. Canadian playing outside in Master. Push is unlikely to come through there at this point, but it will come into Trophy, I would expect. So Canadian, he's going to be in a position to potentially hit them on the flank. 40 seconds left to go, and I'm guessing Canadian's probably got a rotation through Master Closet that will allow him back into sight without going directly through Trophy. Candela's go in. PSK, he's just waiting. Asphyxiation bolt as well. Smoke goes out. Another Candela. Candela after Candela as Ness manages to get a kill onto NJR. And they just swarm it, but Pamba and Canadian have got the answers, Des. They managed to get 3v2. Pamba with another onto Ness. And it's falling apart for Liquid as Canadian manages to get himself a second. And now it's 1v3. PSK, he's pushing in. 10 seconds left to go. Can he find the kills? No! Pamba is laying in waiting. And that is going to be another step towards the grand final for DarkZero.
Liquid was so focused on their Attic and Kids push then as well that they had no idea Canadian was sat inside of Master. We keep on talking about these drones being picked away. They didn't have a chance to drone him out there. Just freebies all day long for Canadian. Him and Pamba getting the diffuser down inside of Master and completely killing any momentum that attack had coming out of Liquid. Really well played by DarkZero.
Looking good, but Team Liquid not far behind. This is poised. No idea who is going to make it through. Liquid are going to have a slightly easier round here, potentially. They're going to be attacking onto Meeting. Interesting to see whether we have that Ossa play coming along or not. But it's time now for DarkZero to step up. This is absolutely pivotal, Des. If they can lock down their third choice site, get themselves onto map point, that is going to be a big blow to the hopes of the Brazilian favourites.
Just when we thought in the last map back on Chalet that Liquid might fight their way back through, DarkZero did get it over the finish line. So getting that advantage now, get to 6 and 4, give yourself a 2-round padding is the dream. Liquid win here though, Tim. We're guaranteed at least 12 rounds.
Oh, it's an exciting prospect. Right, so let's get into the action phase. It's going to be Meeting and Kitchen that DarkZero are trying to hold on to. We don't have the Ossa on the side of Team Liquid, so it's not an attack that the Brazilians are choosing to bring along, where you'd normally see those 2 shields used in conjunction with each other on the rear stage stairs to get control of Attic and the plant spot. Instead, they're going to be trying to work with an alternative. They've got Ask on the Thermite, so I still think it is going to be very much focused around rear stage and trying to get in there and get the plant down on the stage, but we'll see just how they protect themselves whilst doing it.
I quite like how they've got the line here as well. And PSK hasn't used it super early in the round, the first 5 seconds or so. It gets used there to stop anything like a run out or a jump out. Cyclops very aware of what that feels like. But instead, I imagine holding on to at least a couple of these charges. But when they start looking to push it to the site, no one can move. Nades can start going in. You can start swinging. You can play as aggressively as you like. For now, at least, PSK worked his way down into the basement. He's hunting down a Canadian for breakfast. Can he find him? Not just yet. Canadian down to half HP. Has now sleuthed his way across in towards Freezer and looking to pull back.
DarkZero really don't want to lose the opener here, and there's the exchange through the soft wall. PSK, he's going to call that EE1D scanning just to try and help him in this situation, slow things down, make sure he doesn't get gunned down by Canadian. But to Canadian right now, he's going absolutely nowhere. He does not want to give that basement up. Flashbang goes out, just going to prevent the push towards PSK while he's concerned about Laundry Stairs, but Eclipse, he's not going to head down there just yet.
Now, I think Canadian's wondering as well, okay, is he backed away? Am I still safe? Because you've got resets up on the other side. Great nade coming in from NJR, from Balu, sorry, to find NJR. Now Hyper gets resets. That's a critical one because that now unlocks Canadian to move out of Freezer, and if he wants to, move up towards Pillar and rejoin his Cheekies team.
Hyper with a big kill onto us. That's the Thermite down, Des. That is going to limit the hard breach capability now massively because they don't have any other options, and they are running out. Hyper goes massive with a 4K on the round. Is he going to be able to find the last man? He's going to be looking for PSK. You know he's going to want it. It's going to fire momentum into the side of DarkZero, but they look like they could be heading towards a map and match point opportunity here. PSK, he's trying to work and get anything he can going. He's in a 1v3. He's got time, Des.
Hyper might be working his way down green here as well to come in for the challenge. Yes, you've got Eclipse playing above. He could drop the hatch here, but PSK has just basically walked into sight. Problem is the diffuser. It's all the way across in Big Tower. And at this point, that vertical angle and control of DarkZero. PSK is really trying to chase down Ghost here at this point. Got the one angle on the other side of Split as well as Canadian. PSK taking some damage down, and Hyper is just guarding that diffuser with his life. Across these steps, and Canadian gets the shutdown. What a massive round for Hyper.
And a massive round for DarkZero as well as they go on to map point here, match point, series point. It will take them into the grand final if they can get just one more round, as that is all they need. Team Liquid clinging on at this point, doing everything they can, but just coming up short.
Paolo had no idea what was going on there as well, looking in towards sight rather than across towards Hyper. Huge 4K, you can hear the crowd behind us as well. They want it done here in 11 rounds. A 7-4 scoreline for DarkZero could be on the way, but Liquid understandably take their time out first.
Yeah, no surprises there. They just need to try and slow things down. DarkZero not a million miles ahead of them. Team Liquid know how close this is, and they know that there's a real opportunity for them to keep themselves in it and get themselves to overtime, but there is no mistakes left for the Brazilians now.
That's it. Turns out, Tim, that Warden ban, bait. The Ying hasn't been as effective as maybe they would have liked here. They're still trying to make it work by the looks of it. As we do go downstairs into that basement, it's looked a bit dicey. Liquid really rolling over DZ the first time round, but the second just being held up inside of construction. Potentially going into the last round of this semi-final. Let's see if Liquid can hold on.
Alrighty, it's going to be down to the basement that DarkZero go. Will they play somebody out in the map, Des? That's the big question. Last time around, it was pretty critical for them. Yeah. Canadian up on the top floor, burnt a lot of time and just made their lives a lot easier inside a site. Will they opt to double down on that and go for it again, or do they think it's a little bit of a risk? Palu moved in pretty quick last time around, and if Liquid could do that even quicker, then maybe they catch Canadian before he can get away.
It's one of those that I'm just thinking, sure, get out of the map, burn down those drones, never going to be a bad start against Liquid, but really this all spins on the dime that is Liquid's attack decisions. Where are they coming from? Is it all going to be a one-angle push, or are they going to split up once again and rely on some mechanical prowess to keep this game going?
Canadian just opening up his rotations on the top floor to free up his movement, allow him to get around there, and as you say, waste as much time as possible. Liquid will know that he's going to be in that position because they were pushing exactly the same last time around into this hold, and they got him cleared very, very quickly.
Absolutely. Still on that top floor is Canadian, indeed, roaming around a little bit. NJR and Hyper just dancing around securities we're so used to seeing. So DarkZero are looking to get out in the map and stay competitive. Slow Liquid down again. Burn through drones. Keep them at bay. Make that attack when it comes round really time dependent, because that is when a single slip up by the side of Liquid can cost them everything.
NJR going to be taking drones out, making it more difficult for Liquid to find out exactly what's going on, but they know that he's inside of security. There goes one nade, and it's going to allow Resets to push onto the top floor, which is exactly where he wants to be. He wants to force Canadian away, which is exactly what will happen as he heads into the rear stage. He's going to move his way back down to sight. It's a little bit longer than last time, Des. It was about 50 seconds into the round that they managed to clear him, but this time, just a little bit quicker.
I keep pulling back to it, but again, drone count down to 4 after 60 seconds. Liquid have just had all this info taken away from them, which can make, again, those mistakes really come back to bite you and may just reduce Liquid's confidence in coming into their execute. Halfway of the round to go. Resets moving his way in through security, just trying to break open those common spots where defenders will normally hold inside a top freezer and security. Consider that removed. Palu is around for a little bit of assistance. And the fact they're a little bit fragmented right now, Tim, does make me think we are going to see that split come through.
Ass just moving in very cautiously there, pre-firing his corners, making sure that there's nobody hiding in there, nobody going to make his life difficult. Resets is going to be working on those hatches now, just trying to open them up, get that vertical control that Team Liquid need. They've certainly got time here to be able to do this.
It's like, yeah, cheers for trying to burn the hatch open. Here's the real tools for the job. Here's the Havana pellets getting that one opened up. That's all hatches done. 50 seconds on the clock, and Nesk is moving his way down one set of stairs, Palu down the other. It's going to be that pincer again, Tim, that three-pronged attack coming in for Liquid.
Exactly that, and here they go. The challenge comes in, but DarkZero are aware. They are shooting in every single direction at the minute, trying to hold them at bay, but there's a lot of utility raining in around them. Palu manages to get the first, but Hyper, he manages to find finds himself in second, and he's going to be shut down by Ass 3v3.
Now they can go for the plant. Resets once again has got the cross, and DZ know that he's here. Eclipse finds the kill, that's what you're looking for. Ask and PSK, it's a 2 versus 2. Ask moving his way up towards Highway here as PSK comes down the top. He's got a second Canadian. If you're going to shine bright, now's the time to do it. Looks towards Highway. What a flick and finds one. Ask, the last man left alive, a bullet from death. In comes Canadian, but Ask finds the headshot. We're going to 12, Tim.
So close for DarkZero there, but Team Liquid able to get in, get that round and take us the distance here. The tag time out working wonders for them, and the Brazilians keep on fighting, and we know how much spirit and heart they have.
I really saw Canadian's name up in lights then as well. When that came down to the 1 versus 1, a single bullet to the body would have been enough at that range, but Ask, the perfect headshot. That's what you want to see to keep it going. And Nesk, he's gassing him up as well. It's not just our job, Tim, it's also his teammates.
Certainly is. The Team Liquid fans on the edge of their seats right now and waiting to see just what happens here in round 12. It's going to be laundry once again, and I think that's a little bit of a risk for DarkZero. We know how good Team Liquid are in this attack. We've just seen it, and it's not going to be easy for them to hold on.
It wasn't quite the full 3-prong last time. They had 2 coming in through freezer, 2 coming down laundry, and PSK, I think he was just dumping in those candelas on the way through. You know full well, these guys want it over and done with right now, Tim, because as fun as it is for those of us that are neutrals, that aren't maybe a DarkZero fan or a Liquid fan, you get into overtime and you are on the edge of your seat.
That's it, it's just going to be, the nerves will be through the roof. DarkZero finishing their setup there before they head up towards the top floor with Canadian to try and waste that time again. He was a little bit more successful, as I said last time around. It was about 1 minute 10 before Liquid were able to clear him out of there, whereas previously they have done it quicker. Are they going to be able to do so this time, or is Canadian going to hold on for even longer?
You'd hope holding on is not a bad shout. DarkZero, again, want to see this one all the way through. I'm keeping an eye on that drone count once again, Tim. I've referenced it so many times, at least here. Liquid still got a couple, well, all 10, sorry, still on side, when normally they'd have bled out by at least 2 or 3 by now. So a little more conserved on that front. DarkZero maybe not wanting to throw this round away and see it go through to overtime. They don't want it to go that far. Again, they want the 7-5 here and now.
Of course they do. Resets working across that mid-floor then. He knows, as always, there's going to be somebody in security. He wants to bypass them. Last time he just dumped the nade in there and it gave him the opportunity to get up the white stairs. This time he's going to make sure that somebody's present before he does that. It's actually NJR and Canadian that are in there at the moment. There is a time on where maybe they take a choice to double peek him and try and get the kill, but no, they're going to drop back into sight, and that is Team Liquid pretty quickly inside the first minute, forcing DarkZero back in to their final position.
It's been about this 150 mark where DZ have pulled back quite consistently. The only difference in this round, again, is the drone count being left alive. Think about how many times I've said 4 drones, 5 drones left, and that's it. They've only lost 1 in the first minute and a half of this round, so it's a better improvement for Liquid, but drones don't always guarantee kills. It just means you can afford to take more informed gunfights that could lead to a very different outcome.
Canadian just heading down the stairs. He's going to try to hold on to rear stage for as long as possible. He actually got himself an important kill from there onto PSK, so obviously very aware of the value of that area and not wanting to give it up. It's going to be Nesk who's potentially looking towards that, but Team Liquid, they're not in any big rush here. They're still working on those hatches, still waiting to get into position. As we saw last time, it takes 5 or 10 seconds to potentially win or lose this side.
There we go, then hatches being opened up then into that last 60 seconds. What could be the last of Liquid's tournament or the start of a very torturous overtime for the DarkZero side. Stepping forward, they've got 1, resets, working his way down in towards Freezer. Ask and Nesk once again are stacking up at the bottom of Laundry, and you've got PSK looking to come in from the construction side.
Nesk, he's going to take this peek if he gets the opportunity. You just know it, the nade is going to go out as well. And here comes the push from Team Liquid. DarkZero need to hold on. Hyper gets Nesk. That's a big opener. Hyper gets 2 onto us. This time it's now 5 versus 2, 4 versus 2 as Eclipse finds PSK, but Palu gets something going.
Canadian.
Team Liquid, he is low health though. Canadian springs the trap. 1-2, and DarkZero take the win after losing the first time. They fight back.
Beautiful stuff because it guarantees us an all-NA final. And coming into map 1, Team Wheel thought this is going to be a quick one, but DarkZero digging deep, show us a pound the party. And of course it has to be a Canadian with a massive 2K at the very end. That was the ending that this game deserved.
DarkZero and the fans all on their feet as they celebrate what is a huge win for the team. Coming through groups with a strong performance into the playoffs and continuing that momentum all the way into the final, which will now be an all North American affair.
For Liquid, I was just about to say, you've got to feel for them. Yet again, coming to a competition and going out in the final few teams. We've been asking for the longest time, when will they find that win? Sadly, it's not here.
It is not. Team Liquid, as you say, always coming close, but never quite making it. And they are going to suffer the same fate once again.
One of those, Tim, just one of those. That big question now, of course, is who do DarkZero face off against in the final? Oxygen or Astralis? It's an all-NA showdown. I think any combo of those 3 teams would be an absolute spectacle in a full best of 5. Of course, handshakes all around as well. It's going to sting for a couple of these Liquid players. Again, so close, yet so far.
This is it. It's not the first time. It's not the second time, unfortunately, that they've had to suffer through this situation. No matter how hard they try, they just never seem to be able to get that final piece of the puzzle. But DarkZero, they take themselves into the final. We've got to focus on the positives here. They've done fantastically well. They've been up against it there with Team Liquid. That opener on Theme Park really could have broken them, but they've fought back. They showed real spirit, and they were able to get themselves through.
Just goes to show as well, grit and spirit, as you say. You're going into a best of 5 tomorrow where some of those maps you might get absolutely torn apart, but it's about that grit, the perseverance to fight your way back through that is really going to make a difference. That's it for me and Tim here at the Charlotte Major. It's been an absolute pleasure with this crowd once again. We'll see you guys soon, back in a few minutes.
Fighting hostiles is like solving a puzzle. All the pieces are a total mess. Then you solve it as if you always knew the answer.
Welcome back to the R6 Charlotte Major. Commiserations to Team Liquid. They will not be making the grand final. I'll tell you who will be there. DarkZero will be in the grand final of the Major tomorrow, and it would be rude to not catch up with Mr. DZ himself, Canadian. First things first, I can see you really feeling this crowd. I'm going to give you this microphone. Do you want to say anything to anybody?
I don't even know what to say. I got my boys in the front that keep asking me to turn them up, so I'm about to turn up the crowd, as they say. I can't fucking hear you! Let's get fucking loud, Charlotte! Are we excited for an NA Finals? I can't fucking hear you!
Are we bleeping this?
Yes, sir!
Okay. No, I feel the hype. Apologies for the bad language there, but let's just rewind now. Back to that was great. Let's rewind. Back to map 1, right? 7-1. It did not get off to the best start for you. Mentally, was there ever any doubt? At that point, when you get slapped so hard on a map, do you sit there and go, can we get out of this?
Absolutely not. Right after the game, even in the game, switching into our defensive half, I immediately was saying, like, listen, we aren't playing our game. We're literally we're walking in and trying to take fights against them, and like, we can't be doing that against them. They have such an incredibly talented players. We take one-on-one gunfights against them. If they're feeling it, we're gonna lose. So just making sure that we regained our focus and focused on one thing at a time, worked our picks, worked our map control, and all that. And honestly, like, we had a huddle after the first map, and I made that very clear that I wanted us fighting every single round. Every single round, I want us fighting for the round, whether we're in it, we're out of it, whatever. And I actually think after that first map, I don't think there was a single round that we got blown out in.
Well, we know that you can bring a lot of high energy. We just saw it. You just brought it to the crowd just then. Take us behind the scenes. During that huddle, after that first map, what was the atmosphere like, and what sort of energy were you bringing to your team?
I mean, I obviously bring energy when things are going good, right? Like, when we're clicking, I'm getting excited because I love it. But I kept it simple. I'm pretty serious. I actually pretty tame, I would say, even when I'm trying to get my point across like that. But I was just making it very clear how we needed to play, and I think all the guys are very focused and understood. Like, we're all on the same page. That yes, we need to change how we're playing right now. We need to play our game. We need to control the pace and take our approach to the game. Because the first game, we weren't doing that at all. We were playing their game, and we were getting dominated.
You've been to a major final before. Didn't get the result you wanted. Why will this time be different?
Can you repeat that? I was clapping.
That's fine.
I was clapping for Liquid, and I do want to say that they're a formidable opponent. I've always had the utmost respect for those guys. They're legends of the Siege scene, and yeah. This does not define them. They're an incredible team, and I'm so glad they made it out here. They're incredible, and it's an honor to play against them.
Who do you want in the final?
Honestly, I want Astralis, and the reason why is because I think they have the most hype around them right now, and I really want to shut that up.
Okay, I like that. I like this fire. Just finally, right? You've got this evening, you've got this afternoon to go do whatever you need to do before the major final tomorrow. What are you going to be doing with your team?
We're going to watch the next game. We're going to study up our opponent, talk about maps we want to play, maps we want to ban, how we want to play them, all that. But yeah, just kind of reset, enjoy the games, and focus on tomorrow. Get some good sleep in, eat some food, all that.
Sounds like a plan. Congratulations, Canadian, and congratulations to DarkZero. You will be seeing this man and the rest of his roster on this stage tomorrow, competing for that illustrious trophy. Will this man and his team raise it high in the air, and who will he be taking on? We're going to find out in our second semi-final a little bit later on. Back to you, Doa, on the desk.
Thank you, Ian. Here we are back at the analyst desk here in Charlotte, and there is that trophy that everybody's going to be fighting for. Here with Fresh, here with Jesse. That was an exciting conclusion to a really back and forth series, even the last couple rounds there, right? I mean, Canadian not quite able to close out the 1v2 in the second to last round, but then comes back and gets the final kill to send his team to the finals tomorrow. That was just a great series. And I mean, this DarkZero team, I feel like, continues to exceed people's expectations, including maybe yours a little bit in that third map. Somebody changed their mind
He's
before
smiling,
that.
right? He is
I remember,
smiling.
right? Yeah.
But I'm going to remind this crowd, he changed his prediction from DarkZero to Liquid.
Okay, listen, I
Has
got
anybody
a
got an
little
egg?
cold
Because it's on
feet.
your face.
I'm sorry. I picked Easy initially because I thought they were the better team. I saw that first couple of games and I got cold feet. But listen, that's on me.
You weren't, looking at the facts in the moment, you weren't wrong, but then again, you were wrong.
Liquid are usually such a strong Oregon team, and I still think they were here today.
For sure.
Those attacks on the last half just weren't up to snuff, and DarkZero were playing so flawlessly in this matchup. I thought the way that they were able to attack in that first half, the way that they were always taking those gunfights in sight, Hyper was running through with the LMG, we saw Pamba really doing a good job, NJR playing a lot of that sledge roll that he's so well known for, did so much work with that grenades and gun that he was bringing on that side. I really thought DarkZero played it well. And then when we moved on to defense, Troy was always in the perfect spot. I don't know if you noticed this, Fresh, but Liquid never seemed to know where he was before they pushed.
And that's what I was going to pick up on, was he was roaming, particularly on those basement defenses. He was roaming, he had all the rotates, he was getting drones. The drone count was just rapidly decreasing, and he was able to be so slippy with his movement. And on those roams, most of the time you see defenders, they get caught out. Usually it's at least 4 people back to site. DZ every single time getting 5 people back to site, and that's how they won it out on those basement ones at the end.
Yeah, there were so many rounds where it felt like, somebody would make one big play. There was a play where Hyper goes up those main stairs. There was a play where Troy was just standing on the bed and they didn't know where he was, pushing into dorms. That final round even, Canadian ratting by the bomb site inside a laundry. They didn't know where he was.
And we kind of criticize Canadian, rightfully so, a lot of times for not putting up the stat lines that other players on his team do. It's not usually his job, but look at this. 12 kills, 6 deaths, 75% cost, 2 opening kills. Like, that is one of the best Canadian stat lines we've seen in a while.
Listen, he's played so many games. We're going to have positive and negative things to say about him throughout his career, but that's a player that you cannot, when you look at the big picture, ever doubt in any game, because he's been through this so many times before. He's such a good leader for DarkZero, and he pulls it out when it matters.
When it comes to clutch situations, he's one of the people you want on your team more than anyone, for sure.
He's one of the people that you trust in these type of situations when you're against a team of Liquid's caliber to guide you out of it. As the team with some young gunners in it, you need that experienced head that's constantly talking, that's able to produce the business. As I say, on that roam, he would have been the one telling them, right, we go back now. We've hit the time allocation. We've hit the drone allocation. We go back now. That's our win condition. And that's what's guiding them through those rounds and guiding them through that last map.
And he's a smart guy too, because you listen to that interview and he even talked about how Liquid's a very talented team. If they just fight them one-on-one, if they play their game, they're going to lose. It's very rare you hear a team captain say, yeah, their players are better, we're going to lose if we play a certain way. But they didn't play that way. They played together and they got the dub.
Yeah, I love it. He's got the cockiness a little bit, but he's also very fair too. He respects his opponents. He's honest about the performance of his team. I love it. I love listening to those interviews with him. Let's take a look at a couple rounds from that last series. Now, Jesse, the first one we're going to look at, that you want to look at, kind of combines 2 rounds, right? Goes round 3 into round 6, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is ultimately going to be 2 rounds that DarkZero loses, but it's actually a positive point for them. So first of all, take a look at this Valkyrie play, the C4 through the outlines. You see it, boom, comes up, kills Hyper. This is the first top floor defense coming through from Team Liquid. Big impact from resets. But then what do? Round 6 comes around, DarkZero shifted up, Canadian on the Nook. That is the creative answers that DarkZero have been bringing time and time again on their attacks that will win them rounds. Now, they lost round 6, so it didn't work out. I think their positioning in the X2 ended up being not great. But even still, the ability to adapt to that play and to come back and counter the Valkyrie, which was the big problem in that first attack, was really, really smart, and I think a sign of a great team.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, the first half of that map was really close. It was back and forth. It was tied up 4-4, tied up 3-3, all that. And then towards the end, though, that's when it seemed like DarkZero started to really break it open. And our next round we're going to take a look at, round number 10, I believe it is really one of those moments. This is just straight up Hyper making amazing plays.
This is one where Hyper just explodes on the server, and he really comes up big for a bunch of kills in this one. It's actually going to be a meeting defense, which you don't often expect the defense to win. Hyper roaming in the basement, and Liquid know this one. They know he's down there, but he just avoids the drone, comes up. Ask is all alone with Diffuse Kit up on the tower, and that is devastating for Team Liquid. That's the base of where they want to push, and they've just given it up to Hyper. Hyper plays this individually so well. My God. Not every player can hit shots like that.
Liquid were actually doing very well for time on this attack, and I think that's what stressed Hyper into dropping down the hatch, into forcing that engagement, because he said, if we don't go and take the fight to them, they're just going to control the whole site, they're going to get the plant down and win. And he took it upon himself, he gets a 4K, and that really was the turning point. I think that was the point where everyone in DarkZero was like, right, we've got this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes you just got to frag out, right? And it's always fun to see in Siege, because it's not a game that's necessarily about that a lot of the time. So it's fun to see players still having to do that once in a while. But my question for you here, as we start to look ahead a little bit, is how do you feel DarkZero matches up against our two teams in the next series? We got Oxygen versus Astralis coming up. Thinking about either one of those in the finals, what do you think DZ is going to have to think about going into that?
The one thing is they have a massive map pool. I keep saying it, but it's helped them today, being able to win their opponent's map and the decider, because they're so good on so many maps.
Important in a best of 5.
Now go into tomorrow in a best of 5 when you're going to have to play maps where if you've got a small map pool, you're at a big disadvantage. DarkZero don't have that problem, and I think that's only going to be a strength to them.
Yeah, you go back even to the NAL this stage, and Oxygen really struggled against DarkZero in that matchup. DZ came out with a W. I think Astralis' game was a little bit closer. They got caught off guard by a couple of big plays that Astralis were making. Maybe that's why Troy wants to have that rematch. But still, DZ can absolutely take it to those other two NA teams. This is still anybody's tournament. Well, not Liquid's.
Yep, that's right.
Or EU's.
Or EU's.
True enough. Well,
Self-ban.
We got an MVP for that match. Let's see who it is. I think this actually it's a pretty tough choice, honestly, across the board for DarkZero. We're gonna give it to Canadian though. Look at that, 2.0 KD. That is incredible. And again, like the person who keeps his team calm, keeps their head in the game, and then finally comes in with the closing kill to send him to the finals. Pretty sick.
Yeah, I mean, how often are we going to talk about this guy? But he really is the rock around his team. He makes the rest of them better, but he shows when the chips are down, he can also turn up. The 12-6 there was just in that game 3 there, but sensational from him.
Saw that little smile. That's not the face he had on when he was screaming across the stage at Team Liquid, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's for sure. But hey, it works out, right? Let's take a look at our bracket here to see kind of where things are shaking up as far as looking ahead to that finals. And I think we all kind of know what we're going to see here. We're going to see the match from the one we just saw right now. We're going to see that DarkZero logo in the finals for tomorrow. And that means we got to start looking ahead to our final match of the day, our second semifinal match. It's going to be Astralis versus Oxygen. Another great NA match. And I mean, we talked about it before. This means it's going to be an NA finals no matter what. An NA team is going to lift the trophy. And for the major in NA, feels a bit appropriate, doesn't it?
APAC out in groups, Europe out in quarters, LATAM out in semis. It's just NA, baby, left for the grand finals. The three remaining teams. It's weird, right? We've had a couple of years in Siege where LATAM were kings, go back in the day, and Europe used to be on top. NA have had our tournaments, but it hasn't really felt like we've had a really long kind of reign of terror of NA just being the best, and we're kind of in that right now.
Yeah, as a region, you will have the reigning world champions in TSM who aren't here, and you will have a major champion going into stage 2.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like we've had the LATAM era now, maybe. And we're going into an NA era, as as much as I'm saying that through gritted teeth. It's exciting to watch because
I was going to say,
for a long time, NA was on top and it kind of petered away, and it's back. And I think that's amazing for the region.
2022 is the NA era of Rainbow Six Siege, declared by Fresh himself. He's the one who said it first. It's NA all the way right now. We're going to take a break for a moment, but when we come back, the last semifinal, Astralis versus Oxygen. Who's going to face DarkZero in the grand finals tomorrow? Find out right after this.